Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of Who's That Entrepreneur. We'd like to welcome back Conor Sunderland. A year and a half ago we had Conor on and he spoke to us all about his business and about his life. And in this last year and a half he has grown massively as a person and as a business person. So Conor, can you reintroduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself for anyone who hasn't seen you before, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, yeah. So obviously my name's Conor. Last time we did the podcast I think I just turned 23, now 24, lofty age of 24 since we last spoke. But so I run a marketing agency for e-commerce brands. So we handle their email, their SMS, things like push notifications. We do direct response copywriting for them, upsells, different kind of things like this. Now might sound like gibberish for certain people, but essentially e-commerce buzzword in many respects would be people who just sell physical products online. So you could have someone who's a fashion brand, you could have someone who's jewellery, you could have someone who sells supplements, and it's so wide ranging. So people who sell physical products online, once they're at a decent level of scale, which we like for us, we'd need to see a brand's doing at least 100 grand a month before we kind of look at taking them on. Once they're at that kind of level, we'll grow their sales basically through the back end, basically making their existing customers purchase more times, so increase their profit margins, increase their revenue, all that kind of thing. I think the last time we spoke, let me think now, I think it was literally myself, my business partner, and we had 2 full-time people.
I think that's right.
And like we were going nicely still, like even at that time, like I think even like mainly because myself and my business partner were just doing such a volume of work each, and still are to an extent. But now since then I think we've 12 full-time people.
So that's what I wanted to get into.
That was about 13 was it 13 months ago?
November last year. So November, sorry, not last year, not November gone, November 4th.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that was like late November, so that it would have been like 13 months. So pretty quick.
That's a lot of growth in employees in a very short kind of space of time.
And that's what I wanted to get, just so people watching can understand that you're not just some kid now just sitting in his room doing a bit of marketing.
Well, to be fair, that room was in Marbella, so I was still enjoying myself a bit. But
the point I want to get across is, you said there, so at least €100,000 in revenue, presumably,
for the brands that we take,
for someone for you to work with.
Yeah.
So, and then, how many brands do you reckon roughly that you're working with now?
20 odd, I think, just over 21 maybe.
Yeah, so you're talking 20 plus brands. You're dealing with a lot of money. I know, not physically, but you're generating a shitload of fucking money for people.
For sure, yeah. I think we've generated over 20 million for brands today.
So that's crazy. And them numbers, I don't think people realise the extent of it. And that's just one thing I wanted to make clear to everyone. Managing 12 staff, how's that?
But like I wouldn't like to, maybe it's like an Irish thing, but I don't like to have it like I would never be someone who's like beating my chest or like anything like that. And even with like 12 staff and stuff like that, like there's a lot of people who like boast about their headcount, but they're like not that profitable or anything like that. You know, like, so it's like it's a nice little business for sure. Like, because our accountant as well works with like a lot of big e-commerce brands and agencies, and he always says to us, he's like you're like, we're almost like his little like kind of like he always says to us that we're like his little golden child or something like that, because he's like, you're like, you do everything correct and you just kind of do what I tell you to do in many respects, like in terms of like keeping margins where he wants to see them and like all the rest of it. But like managing 12 staff, like to be fair, that's almost, I wouldn't take the most credit for that. So the way we kind of have the responsibilities divided is, with myself and my business partner, so he's another chap called Conor, he's from Cork. He's sort of like, I mean, I always cringe when people give themselves titles in their business. Like, mate, you're like, just call yourself a founder or some shit like that. But if you were to give him a title, like, that people would have in like the corporate world, you would say he's, quote unquote, the COO, right? Like, he manages the team. He sort of ensures that like the service delivery itself, the actual core activity of the business, is up to scratch. And then the part of the business I run it, once again, when people ask me like what title would you give yourself? I don't give myself a title. I actually, a lot of people I lie about what I do as well, because I just don't want to incur that like, what's this? Like, I just say I run like the seal exhibit at the local aquarium or something like that. But actually I've said that to people in the past. But I would say like mine would kind of be like CMO in a way. Like in terms of like, I manage all business development, signing clients, all that kind of thing, which is like takes a bit of skill. Like that's like that's and like. So there, I there's like myself and like 2 other people who I really closely kind of work with, 2 to 3 actually, like, and then with him he has about 9 people roughly. He has like 9 people that he's kind of, no, sorry, 8, beg your pardon, that he's like, that he kind of oversees.
Okay.
And so he like mostly does like the team building stuff. That's definitely like something that I find a little bit difficult, especially because, you know, I'm actually one of the younger people on the team.
Right. Okay.
So like you actually, I noticed it bred into you from, you know, just you would generally think, you know, this person's older than me. It's like you're almost more inclined to believe that they're correct even if they're not about something. So it's, yeah, I suppose I'm describing imposter syndrome really more than anything.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, sometimes I would very much struggle because I'm actually quite an agreeable person as well. Like I would rather, I don't like to coerce people. I would rather cooperate, you know. So I'd find that a little bit difficult, in many respects. But the best thing you can do, I think, in terms of managing is sort of like, it's the hiring process, getting that right? Like, is in actually getting the right person in the first place. You know, if you, the best people manage themselves.
Yeah.
You know, the best people are self-starters. They go very far in life. Like, if you have anyone listening who like thinks they're a self-starter or anything like that, like, it counts for so much more than you would think. If you just have a bit of get up and go and you're not lazy, that actually puts you ahead of so many people. You know, so many people will look to do the bare minimum, because they don't kind of, mainly because they don't see the long term, you know, of what they're doing. They're like, they kind of only see the immediate term. They don't see, hey, well, like, look, if I smash it here, I get these skills, I get these connections, you know, this person will give me a reference or whatever, and it will benefit their life in many regards. But yeah, for in terms of managing people, it's somewhere I really need to it's something I'm still actively working on because I haven't got that cracked, you know. I don't know everything, far from it, like, but yeah, definitely the hiring process, key in terms of getting the right person. They will mostly manage themselves, but you have to be hands-on with training them. And we have like kind of culture pillars at the agency as well that we sort of hire people by.
Yeah.
So like they have to, so we mark them like they're like 4 criteria that like we kind of mark them on, almost, so to speak. And if someone seems like they're a good fit along those lines, it's very rare to get that. You also need to get multiple layers of like a sift going, so you get as many people in that like you'd look to potentially chat with, and then you have multiple layers of filtration, you know, before, and then if someone comes out at the end of that process, you know that they almost pass all the tests. Yeah. Do you know, that kind of way? So
would you say a CV is extremely important in the hiring process, or would you?
We've hired like 2 people in the last 2 weeks. I didn't even ask for CVs.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at them. Like,
the conversation is more important than what's written down on a piece of paper.
A few actually. In fairness, the 2 people we did hire, like they sent, oh yeah, here's my CV, by the way. I was like, I'm not gonna read that. Like, like, I don't care, man. Don't care where you went to college. It doesn't fucking matter.
I was about to say, college. Do you want the people you have working for you to have been to college? Now, we discussed college on the last podcast. Yeah. And you would kind of you went to college. Yeah. You don't use it. You're never going to probably use it, but you didn't regret it.
Yeah,
that was a year and a half ago. I'm talking to
I don't regret it at all, and I think like, obviously there's a lot of content on the internet. Maybe kind of the dynamics within Ireland are changing now a bit as well. So I could be speaking somewhat out of turn, but the dynamics in Ireland are very different to like kind of the content you see on the internet where people are like, college is a scam and all the rest of it. You know, because you do see these things out there, right? But you're comparing Ireland to the United States. The United States is a whole different ballgame when you're talking about college. You know, you're talking like 50k your tuition fees. You're talking about, you know, loans that you can't default on. You're talking about a degree which is a general arts degree, where you can have someone who there are people out there who have actually paid 200 grand to do like a lesbian dance degree. Yeah. like those people actually exist. Yeah. You know, and you're like. So like if you have someone in Ireland who's paid, I think are tuition fees still about 3k?
3k. I think they reduced them to 2 in the recent budget. Like,
no way, did they? Okay, right. So there you go. So let's say you have 3k tuition fees. Say your rent for the year is like for this academic year is like 5k, maybe, is it?
It depends who you are.
I think now it's like. I was
talking to 8 to 9.
Yeah, 8 to 9.
Okay, right.
Dublin's like 14,000 now.
Wow.
When I went to Cork, it was like 4 grand.
Yeah,
when I went to Cork, it was 5 grand.
Yeah, it's like
a year.
8,000 now, and now Dublin's like 14.
But even so, right? Like if you take someone who's doing that, let's say like someone does like an engineering degree or even like a fucking business degree or something like that, it's like they're here. It's a far different dynamic. It's not a scam here, you know. I'm not saying it's the absolute best thing you can do at your time necessarily, but for me, I hadn't a clue what I wanted to do in I'd zero clue. And if you're in that position where you haven't a clue what you want to do, college is not a bad place to be in the slightest.
Do you require someone to have a college degree to work for you?
No. And it's funny. I'd actually. There we go. We're back now after the technical phase. But yeah, no, you were saying like would I require someone to go to college? Not at all. Like I mean, like as well. Like I call it like probably after. I don't know, was it my dad or was it actually shout out Pat Kinsella? It might have been him who Steve's our old rowing coach. He used to talk about someone having the minerals. It was like his phrase. And it's something else fellas to say. You're like, oh, that's good. But like just look at if someone has the minerals. They're like intangible qualities people have where like it doesn't really matter if they have a degree or not. Like and there it's like a degree really like acts as it's just a signal that someone has certain capabilities more than anything. It's like so. You know, even if you haven't got direct experience in this role that someone could potentially be hiring you for, it just acts as a signal for, are you detail oriented, are you punctual, are you someone who wants to learn and wants to grow? That's like the biggest thing. But I don't check CVs or I wouldn't do that. I remember there's actually a fella we were interviewing, and now talk about imposter syndrome. This fella had a PhD in chemistry. I was interviewing him for like the last role there, and he was going on. He was like, "No, I want to get into marketing, something like that. I want like a new challenge kind of thing." I was like, "All right, interesting." And he was like, "Yeah, it's a very quirky hiring process. Like, you don't check CVs or anything." I was like, "Yeah, like I fucking just fully forgot to check yours in a way." Like, but no, like I do like degree no, and I mean I would I'm tempted to say, oh, the world's moving in a way where people aren't going to look at your degree. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I don't think that's the case either. Do you know, like for there's so much. I think negativity that people hear about college, and I'm like, Jesus, it's not fucking. Do you know? It's one of these things that like. Sorry, now going on a tangent, but like there's this new batch of like info marketers who cropped up with this like escape the matrix fucking like tagline. It's not just Tate, you know, like it's.
Yeah, we can all sit here like this for the rest.
We can all do that kind of thing, but it's like. You have people going on about like escape the matrix, and like there's one big one who I'm not going to name by name. I actually have mutual friends with this person, and he's very big guru, very very wealthy, and a very young guy. I'll give that hint. People probably know who it is, but he was like has this escape the matrix like marketing, and then it's like at the end he like and he's talking this big story of like puppet masters and all the rest of it. Deleted his own YouTube videos and acted like it was like the matrix trying to take him down.
Yeah.
And then at the end he's like selling you a course on starting an agency, and it's like, right, so your plan is to like get someone to not go to college, fuck off their job, and then you're going to get them to start up an online business with like a 1 to 1.5% success rate, and even if it is successful, all of your money is highly traceable, and you are now escaping the matrix. Like if people thought for a second like about that, it's like there's this the reason being is like humans make decisions emotionally, right? Like you make your decision emotionally and then you justify it logically. Like we were talking about how people buy cars earlier, because like obviously you have a lot of experience in selling cars. It's like it's an emotional decision where they're like, I want this car, and then the logic comes in there. Like even though in practicality they can't afford it, they're like, no, but if I move this around and I do this and then I do that, they're like, I can get the car. It's like they're acting on emotion and then using logic to justify it. So what these people like kind of try to do, and what a lot of these content creators, even if they're not trying to sell you shit, they're essentially trying to make you feel some kind of negative emotion, something that's very deep, something like shame or pride, right? Even the pride's probably a positive emotion, but still, like, these are very deep-seated emotions, and then they'll get you to justify a highly illogical decision, like trying to flog you a course for $5,000, and then you're like, you trying to like about escaping the matrix when it's. You really like with the matrix, the way these people talk about it, you can't escape. You can't escape it.
A lot of them YouTube,
and that's okay.
So is all about that, isn't it? Like the selling the courses is the be all of what they're trying to do. Like
that's where they're generating their income.
Most of their money.
No, I mean, like it's highly inconceivable that someone would, and look, like I've bought courses and stuff like that. And I'm probably like the small, like in the small cohort that have like had success from it, like I see so many people fail. Like the vast majority of people who start any kind of business absolutely fall flat on their face. Like
100%.
Majority of people don't get their first client, let alone have a business from it. But yeah, I don't know, that's an interesting world. I mean, there are cases where it can potentially be done right, but I think it's funny. Like most people there, you'd find that they actually never really made that much money in the thing they were originally doing, or that they purport themselves to have been doing. And Tate's a great example. I don't think he was ever really. Well, I don't want to get into that. I've like. I know a lot about him, like from various people who actually do know him.
Yeah.
I don't want to act like I'm like some fucking like everyone, but like I know a lot of people who know people, like, and he's interesting guy, but full of shit for sure.
Yeah. No, I wanted to just touch on something you mentioned there, because it's something I actually wanted to talk to you about. You are the salesperson. You're the salesman for your company. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So when you started off, there was yourself and Conor, and you're sales. That's your thing, and you try to generate the customers. So first question is, now 20 plus clients, are you getting referred clients, or are you still cold calling? For essentially cold calling is I assume how you get them. Are you still cold calling clients? And talk to us about that. Would you trust someone else to come into your business and do that? Because that is probably one of the hardest jobs. Yeah. Sales is hard. Cold calling is even harder.
Yeah, we actually haven't done it through cold calling really at all.
Oh, at all?
Not at all, no, really. So like it's been I've quite an elaborate setup there actually.
Yeah.
Like in terms of what we do, but like now, like we're looking that like a lot of it is referrals. Yeah.
Referrals are bread and butter.
They are bread and butter. They're fantastic. But like, or like people who hear about us, or people who come through like even fucking YouTube and Twitter and this kind of thing. You know, like it's quite interesting. Yeah. But you know, I suppose on the outbound side of it. So, you know, in my opinion, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Right, like, and that's the part where, like, you know,
getting people to give their money is always the hard part.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hardest part of anything.
Why
exactly that?
So to speak, like, why would they go with you over a competitor? What's your cutting edge, your unique selling point?
Exactly that. So really, that kind of starts. Well, like that starts before the outbound, right? Like that starts before contacting someone. So like, really, you. Like on the unique selling point thing, right? So like you need to have some kind of offer that you can give someone. So let's say I'll do your email marketing. Like two people say that. You know, like just if someone's like, I'll do your email marketing, and then someone, like when I say an offer, I mean like offering someone a result, like offering someone an outcome, right? So let's say someone wants let's say going the selling cars example, right? The best kind of if you're selling to men, right? Like we've done like a lot of research on like direct response marketing and stuff like that for like different brands and different like people who are trying to sell products for, right? Main thing like things boil down to if you're trying to sell something to a man is they want like status, wealth, and freedom. It comes down to those three things. It's really what drives any decision a male pretty much makes, right? Right. So with a woman, it's like that they want other women to be jealous of them. Like these are the things that boils down to, right? So like you can kind of come back from that and make some kind of offer that speaks to that. Are you selling the car? It's like, well, no, like to that man, it's like, well, he wants the status, he wants the pride, he wants that kind of thing. Like if you're like selling him that emotion, it's far more like he doesn't just want a car like for the sake of it. Do you know, like it's he wants the status attached with it, if that makes sense. So really, do people want us to do their email marketing? Well, like it's a wealth thing. For them, it's status. It's like, you know, well, if I have, you know, friends of mine who are like doing they're doing X amount of revenue, and then if I'm doing 2X, you know, I'm like, well, I'm the big dog of the group and that kind of thing. So, you know, for us, so like let's say the offer isn't I'll do your email marketing. The offer is we will add X amount to your revenue within time frame, or else risk reversal, or else, you know, if you're not happy within 30 days, we'll refund you or some crap like that, right? And so it starts with that. It starts with you we didn't even mention email marketing in our offer. Like, you know, it's about like the end outcome that we're offering them to have, right? Then from there we have an elaborate cold email setup. So this is like very complicated. This is like a business within a business. This is why it's mostly what I do, because it's quite hard to run, especially at the scale that we're running it at. So it's about like scraping large lists of leads, like a large amount of data into spreadsheets, actually combing through the data to make sure that all the emails are good, that they don't bounce, that they're like, these are companies we'd like to work with, loading them into a tool that we're able to send to. We also have a lot of like domains and stuff like as in, you know, that aren't our core, you know, domain, you know, like it's quite I won't like labor too long on it, but essentially it's a highly scaled cold email where we can email X amount of people a day, like hundreds potentially, and get them onto like Zoom calls and stuff like that, and then we can kind of like present our offer and continue warming them up. And obviously we use a CRM, which I use religiously each day.
Yeah,
I must live in that thing in a way. But like the reason I'm kind of able to do all that, and the reason I'm able to sell at a high level especially as well, is because it's a market that's at a high level of awareness. Like they are considering you and other people. E-commerce is like the most saturated kind of niche on earth you could sell to. So you need a high degree of technical knowledge to even sell there. Like you need to actually like demonstrate to this brand owner, I know way more than you could ever know about this thing. And the fact that I was in the trenches for so long doing service delivery and still oversee that, like as in like I could still do that to a very high level to this day. But eventually you can't be the violinist forever. You have to move to be the conductor, and so like within selling, obviously I have a high degree of technical knowledge. It's not like I've just always I was always doing sales. That wasn't always the case. It's just now that the development of responsibilities has become a bit more clear. So yeah, it's kind of high like mostly cold email is kind of what it's been.
Okay, yeah.
And then through good skills on the phone as well. Good skills on Zoom, really, not the phone. But
how many points of contact generally does it make for you to make a sale?
Including the emails?
Including the email. So email is 1 point of contact, let's say.
I mean, like if we're saying all points of contact, like if we're going through like email follow-ups, calls, all that, I mean, I'd probably say 12 more.
Really, yeah.
12 interactions before you convert.
Well, but like in terms of calls, it probably takes 2 or 3 on average, maybe.
Okay.
But like if you're talking about all the touch points and like, there's actually one client I'm going to visit tomorrow, who they're quite a big client. They used to sponsor Conor McGregor actually. Like I say off air and stuff, but
yeah.
I was following up with them for 9 months before they signed.
Yeah, because we spoke about
that's quite a long.
We spoke about that client months ago. We just happened. I met you and you spoke about that.
Yeah.
So that's still you're hoping to close that now this week.
Oh no, it's closed now.
We're working
with them like over 6 months.
Oh, sorry,
and they love us. So like we're going up to thing. And there's plenty of people who can sell, but they can't do. Like they love our work and stuff as well. Like they're very happy with us. But we're like I actually. Like sometimes I've showed it to I remember showing to Conor, my business partner, going through the CRM of like all the points of contact with them and just how long it went on for, and he was just busting his sides laughing. He was like, you're actually ill. There's actually something wrong with you. And I was like, yeah. He was like, the fact that you enjoy this is just like 9 months of skagging here in front of you.
To him it's just torture. But that's the beauty of having a partner in business.
Oh yeah.
Because my dad would always preach having a partner. Him and his brother have been in business together for like 40 something years, and my dad likes not money, but he likes numbers, and like for example he owns a casino, so he likes the inside of the machines and all that kind of stuff. And then my uncle's the opposite end. He hates it, and he loves like building rooms and a real heavy manual labor, like, and so they've literally the whole business split in half perfectly between the two of them.
Very good.
At doing what they like and playing to their strengths. And if you had to do all, let's say if other Conor, you didn't exist, and he had to do that stuff he doesn't like, it's not going to work. Yeah. Simple as that. Like, and no matter how hard working he is, eventually doing something you hate, you will stop.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that it's very true, and I have friends who are solo founders and stuff like that, and it makes me realize that I'm probably I'm not really a business person at heart. I'm actually kind of surprised. I was actually speaking with my mom earlier because on this, I was kind of saying I'm actually somewhat surprised I run a business. Yeah. Like she always thought I'd go into like politics or something like that and be like, I literally thought I'd be like a fucking diplomat in the EU or something like that. That was always what I thought. I probably will go and like do something like that. I don't think I'll be in business forever. Like, well, I won't be putting all my effort into business forever at least. But yeah, I mean, it makes me realize I'm not really a businessman at heart when I realize that if I were a solo founder, I would flat out not enjoy it. Yeah. I'd flat out be like, I hate this. Yeah. I would want to I'd want to go off and just write novels or something. Yeah.
But trying to cover every angle is absolutely impossible. On like delegation is probably one of the more important things, especially as you've expanded the team. Yeah. Delegating work out.
For sure.
Is probably difficult, but makes it easier.
It is, and even any solo founder I know who's at a decent level, they anyone who gets to a decent level, they hire someone who is like who for all intents and purposes is just a business partner without equity. Yeah. It's someone who's like a kind of a COO, sort of head of operations kind of person who handles all of that thing. you know, or it's someone who just handles the sales element and they're just on like the COO kind of side of things. Normally it's if you have a solo founder, they normally remain on the sales side.
Yeah.
But you know, because that's probably it's the most important thing. Because if you don't have clients, sure.
If you don't have clients, nothing works then after that. Yeah.
But yeah, like these are. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's it. Yeah.
And it's nice to have on the softer side of things. It's nice to have someone to celebrate things with. Like,
oh yeah.
Do you know, like it can be quite a lonely place to do things on your own. Like
yeah.
And some people are fine with being alone, but when you've like, let's just say for example, you got like you hit your first million in revenue for a client. Like it's nice to be able to look at Conor and the two Conors. That must get confusing.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to look at him and be like, fucking nice one, man. We did it. But if you're on your own, you're sitting there and you're like. Drinking your glass of water, you're like, oh, nice. At least you're enjoying it with someone like. It makes a huge difference. So.
No, for sure, and it's the memories as well. Like it's almost, I'd almost imagine it's funny. It's almost I'd imagine it's like being married in a sense. It's because like it's you realize it's the early memories together that are the fondest. It's like, you know, if we were looking at, let's say for argument's sake, we just sold the company in like 5 years time or something like that, and we were like, do you know. I can imagine there being a moment of like just clinking glasses, to an exit bigger than we ever imagined. But then you turn away and you're kind of like, geez, it doesn't hit the same as the time we did this first revenue milestone or whatever together. Like like nothing hits the same as those first early milestones. Even now, like especially as well, like with the money kind of side of, or like with the I suppose money side of it, like we're very like neither of us are very money driven. Do you know, like what I personally love is actually seeing people grow and like helping people grow inside the company. Like that's so fulfilling. And I view myself as like being in service of all the people there rather than the other way around. And you know, like the no amount of money will kind of I think will satisfy you, because like when you're because we're doing it for more than money essentially, right? Like if you're doing something just for money, you'll stop once you have enough.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens quick. Like, cause like how much, you know, like what are you gonna just eat caviar or something like that? Like,
you
don't have stuff to use it for, though.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what would you spend more than, like, you know, if you're personally making even like 3k a month or something like that, what would you be spending more like when you actually kind of break it down? It's like I don't know, like a pretty simple fucking person, like, do you know, I don't really care.
Well that's good. And then so future, what's the future looking like for you? I know you're moving this week. Yeah, moving in 2 days. Yeah, so moving to Dubai. I'm going to be living down the marina. We have this nice, like really nice apartment that's like, oh geez, it's like lovely view and all the rest of it. And we're like right like slapping like the like really nice part of the marina. So I visited Dubai. I was staying again I looked at like downtown and marina and JBR were the three places I was looking at. At the marina I was like, this is sick, this is sick, you know. So moving there, so are both of you moving? Is Conor he's moving also.
We're all moving, and I kind of weighed that up for a long time, because like I very much value being like close to the family and all that.
And you spoke about that in the last one, that Ireland is your base really, like, so
it really is. Like, I mean, I'm very like patriotic and stuff like that, and probably to kind of a, I don't know, stupid degree in some senses, but I kind of deliberated on that for a while, because I'd visited there in January as well, and I was like, I was, you know, it kind of, I was 99% certain I'd move there when I went away, or when I was there. I was like, this is fantastic, this is everything I want, the network of people here is fantastic, I like all the people that I've met and I'm hanging around with, even things like the gyms there being great, you know, definitely even like the girls you chatting out, like I could tell it's a minefield, like like the I suppose like what do you call, like the dating scene or whatever. Even just from like limited interaction with it would be, I can tell that would be like kind of unique. It'd be like Marbella on steroids, you know.
And because everyone is from somewhere. There's no, you're not going to be dating someone from Dubai, like you're going to Switzerland, Sweden, everywhere really. Everywhere, isn't
I think I think it's like an 85% immigrant rate there. And like, I mean, most of the actual Emiratis would live in the interior. If you're in somewhere like the marina, it's pretty more like 97%. I did. It was when I left actually and came back to Ireland. What the clincher for me was that I missed Dubai, and not just, you know, certain aspects of it. I was like, God, I would love to be there right now. Like, genuinely, like from the bottom of my heart, it's where it's. I think it's the place to be in many respects right now. If you are trying to, you know, do something like what I'm doing, It's almost like Paris in the 1920s, where it's like Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald all being there. The lads.
The lads, yeah. And that's sick. So you're moving there this week, and then you and your business partner are going. You obviously will have then 12 staff back in Ireland.
Are they all here?
No, not all in Ireland.
Okay, alright.
I think like 5 overseas, or 6 maybe.
Okay.
6, yeah.
Are they where are they based in general?
UK, Brazil, Philippines.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so you already have, my question was going to be time differences.
So you're already cover all hours.
Yeah. They cover all hours, yeah.
And most of your clients are still American?
Still American, UK, Irish, and then we have some in random places like Israel and Singapore.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Balancing, so you spoke about the gyms. You've been into the gym as long as I've known you're big into the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Gym, work, personal life. Now, you mentioned dating over in Dubai.
Yeah.
You didn't speak about any dating the last time. You don't have a girlfriend, I don't think, don't
No,
you?
not currently, no.
So, how are you going to balance that?
Yeah, that's a big question, because that demands time. Demands quite a bit of time.
Women take a lot of time.
Definitely, yeah. And as well, it takes you kind of, it takes focus, and also there are just different things going into it. Like, let's say if you're out somewhere, like having a few drinks, staying up a bit later, all this kind of thing, which you obviously don't want to be a robot in life. You kind of do want to have some variance there, but so I've even found that in Cork, it's kind of hard to balance that and still stay really kind of locked in on that routine. So I suppose the honest answer is I don't know exactly how I will balance it. I think it'll probably it won't be massive exposure to it, I wouldn't say. It's just it's very difficult to be at that constantly. It is, especially if you're trying to, I suppose, find someone who's very if you're deciding between multiple people you're onto, let's say, that's that's so much time when you think about it. That's real time allocation, and it's focus that's kind of draining away from what you're doing. If you're meant to be really focused on a task that you need to do, and you have 3 threads running in the back of your mind where you're God, I need to go to the gym, and then I've this other activity. I don't know if you're going meeting friends or something, you're and then I have to meet this person after, or I've these meetings to be on in the evening. It's very, when you think about it, everything's so jumbled up there. I think that's tough on anyone to have that kind of domain switching all the time.
Overwhelming at times.
It's overwhelming, just when you're really trying to focus on multiple things. So I suppose the best way I've ever thought about this has just been the balance probably isn't achieved in a week. It's maybe achieved over the course of a couple of months. Maybe you have 3 months where you're just proper incel grind mode. I'll just be just focus on long hours in work and stuff like that, and then you have time periods where you enjoy yourself a bit more. That said, this summer I've kind of realized how much graft I've kind of put in over the last 2 years or so. And I was Jesus, it just kind of dawned on me. I was geez, man, I'm 24. I don't need. I'm kind of.
Them first 4 years go quick. 20 to 24.
Yeah, I was
they can creep up.
Yeah, I was how am I 24? This is madness, and so I've definitely made it a goal to enjoy myself more in the summer. I definitely think so. I'll only be in Dubai this time, so I'll have the lease and stuff like that, but I'll be only there for March and April, and then I'll be going back there in October.
Summer's no time to be there, is it?
Summer's it's too hot, and I have to be there at least once every. I have to be there at least 90 days. This year, and I have to be there, and I have to be there at least once every 6 months to avoid tax, allegedly. But yeah, all alleged. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Tax. We're going to get into tax. Yeah. Talk about tax. Talk about why you chose to go to Dubai, money wise.
Well, so I chose to go there for so many reasons, and I will say tax actually isn't the main reason now.
Yeah.
It's the main reason is because I kind of thrive off the people I'm around, and it's mainly to be, I suppose, it's mainly for the network, I suppose. Yeah. But definitely when we did tax returns in Ireland, it's not like we're a massive company, but I was Jesus, I got bent over here pretty bad. I was this is not.
And that's one of the lowest in the world.
Yeah. But I was looking at kind of like, let's say if I wanted to pay myself more or something like that, I was like, Christ, like the amount of personal tax and stuff like that, you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And and as well, like our accountant, like I was saying, he just works with e-commerce brands and agencies. But he's over in Dubai. He's from Cork.
I think I follow him on Instagram. Yeah.
Great guy, Seamus. Yeah. Great guy. And so but he's actually now like kind of, he does a lot more stuff for us now. He's like kind of fractional CFO actually. Like he's fantastic. But so he was saying to us, look, for the next, he was like, look, this is a 3 to 5 year play. You'd be stupid not to do it. Mm-hmm. So you'd be really stupid not to do it. And I was like, yeah, go on, sure. Look, like we'll look at it now. But I mean, I suppose, yeah. I mean, financially, imagine paying no tax.
Yeah, is it 0%?
You pay some bits. Like I think
they recently kind of changed it slightly, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain now. I think they're actually changing. I think that change goes into effect in April. I think we'll just about miss it.
Yeah, I think they changed it for corporation. I think personal is still pretty close to
I think zero. Yeah. I don't, maybe it's corporation like 3% or something.
Yeah, it's very it's very low.
Either way, do you know, like I mean.
Are you a limited company now?
Oh yeah, we always were. Like,
you were
since February 2021.
Right. And is that difficult to move?
Actually, yeah, the limited company turned 2 years old on the 15th.
Oh, you're sick.
I didn't actually. I literally went by, but I remember dates. Like I loved history in school. Like, but I just like the sorry.
Is it difficult to move from Ireland to Dubai, like the company information?
Or is it like an accountant's job?
Yeah, it's an accountant. I actually don't 100% know how it works. By the sounds of things, it doesn't sound too difficult. You have to be quite diligent. I'll still have, for all of 2023, I'll have to be quite diligent in terms of what I do, so I don't incur any sort of tax liability. Like I don't think I can be in Ireland for more than 90 days in the first year at least. But then I can't be in Ireland for up to 180 then in 2024. But I've already spent, I think, like 10 odd days out of the country this year, and it's now the 1st of March, is it today?
Yeah, 1st of March today.
Well, I think I spent like 7 or 8 days in Dubai at the start of the year, and then 2 days in Liverpool. So quite opposite ends of the spectrum. So like, you know, I'll be well inside 90 days. I'll still be able to come home for Christmas and I'll stay for half a Christmas dinner, then bounce and be like, sorry lads, like the alarm goes off. I'm like, sorry lads, I love you all. I have to go now. I'm sorry. Cranberry sauce all over me.
The another thing I want to talk to you about, because I have a friend who works for you, and I remember he was telling me you were over in Portugal there a while ago on holidays, and you were on a Zoom call, obviously for work, and you started just or you were in Spain or Portugal, I don't know, you started speaking in Portuguese to the waiter. I think it was Portugal you were in.
Yeah, it would have been Portugal.
And I remember he was saying it was just so funny, you were just like drinking your espresso, just started. You do speak different languages, and you learned them very fast. You were fluent in Spanish pretty much.
Still am, like, doing it. Like I haven't been practicing enough in Spanish, but like there's a point where I'd bust out like the pasty skin, obviously, so people were like, what the fuck? Like,
talk a little bit about that and how you went about learning it, and how you went about, because was it within about 9 months or 10 months you were saying?
6 or 7.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like.
Yeah. But like I've always loved languages, and I must say, they were always some of my favourite subjects in school. Like my favourite, like I loved Irish in school. Now I had the same teacher for history and Irish. Shout out Miss McCarthy, absolute legend.
Alright, yeah.
But like, I was a bit of a clown in school at times. So like she had a soft spot for me, and she
because you loved history.
Yeah, she knew I loved the subject. But like, but yeah, like, so I always had a love for languages, and kind of I've always been, like I said, on not really feeling too much like a businessman in like the. In some senses, I'm obviously quite interested in it. Solo founder, I wouldn't do it, but I've more so been kind of enamored with the idea of, I've really heard like the idea of like the Renaissance man kind of thing, just someone who is kind of just busts out. You can kind of just do such a wide variety of things. You only see Daniel Craig and James Bond, and he just like speaks Italian. You're like, fucking course he speaks Italian. you're like this fucking guy. You like be like that kind of. That can be, and like not in a show-offy way, but just to sort of see like on how many dimensions can you just sort of expand yourself in a way, you know. And I genuinely, my favorite thing to do in life is to learn. I love learning new things. Like, and it just feels so good. Like even like throughout, once you have learned something, like the whole process of it end to end is fantastic. So in terms of learning Spanish, so that was. I don't know why I wanted to do Spanish in particular. For some reason, I just kind of gravitated towards it. I think maybe I had in my head I wanted to go traveling after college. I ended college during 2020, so that fucking went out the window. But I literally I'd paid however many thousand to go to like Canada, or like gets like however many, you know, like for like the visa and
the
like
2-year visa.
Kind of yeah. And I was like, Christ, man, like not ideal. But no, so I gravitated towards Spanish, and there are kind of like 3 things that I did. So naturally I started with like Duolingo, just like fucking everyone does, but I didn't have this plan in my head then. This sort of like coalesced after like month 2 or so. But I went and started with Duolingo, and I just kind of learned sentence structure. I did French also in school, which massively helped. Going from French to Spanish helps a lot. Going from Spanish to French wouldn't help too much. French just has so many composition words and stuff like that. It's quite difficult to learn actually, and it's not phonetic. Like, it's pronounced different to the way the way it's spelled. But first thing was Duolingo. Second thing was I downloaded an app called Anki. Now, I've a couple of friends who do medicine and stuff like that. Anki is infamous because it's a flashcard app. They all use it to learn off terms in Latin and all this kind of thing for medicine. And I downloaded a deck. Sorry, the Anki is ANKI for anyone who's interested. And I downloaded a deck which was the 2,000 most common Spanish words. Because I think there are like 171,000 words in English. But we use roughly the same 2,000 or 3,000 every day. Because when you think about it, it's like for most of your communication, you're going to use of, the, at, you know, all those kind of words. And so I learned all of those. And once I had that sort of vocabulary there, now French, obviously, I had French before, which helped. And I busted French out abroad. Like, I still have, like, I shocked myself at how much French I still know to this day. Yeah. But, learned those 2,000 words. And with Duolingo there as well, I had kind of the glue between sentences, because like
phrases and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need the words themselves, but then you obviously need the glue to make it into a cohesive sentence. And the final thing I did then was I kind of went on like these kind of language exchanges. The Spaniards call them intercambios, and we went on those. And basically it was like this website called conversationexchange.com. People can literally copy exactly what I did. It's free. Now I do like lessons I pay for now, but at the time I did this I was skint, so like I did it free. And I literally just had Zoom calls with Spaniards, and we would do half in English, half in Spanish, because they wanted to learn Spanish, they wanted to learn English. And this is actually kind of funny. I remember there was this Basque guy, and he was telling me about
because it's different there, isn't it? Different dialect. In the Basque country.
Well, Basque now is like completely different origin of like Basque is like, you're like, how is this fucking in Spain? But like, they're completely different.
It's only more Germanic.
Yeah. Oh, it's a crazy old language. Yeah. It's called Euskera, like the Basque language. But they've I remember I had this lad, I think his name was Ignacio or something like that. But I had all these people. I remember some of the people. I had this girl called Natasha who was a teacher and stuff like that. But I had a couple of people who were actual Spanish teachers, and they were the worst people to have conversations with.
Really? Yeah.
Because they would correct you and all the rest of it. You're like, oh no, it's actually pronounced this way. You're like, fuck, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if some like foreigner says to you like, oh, what means of that? You're like, I know what you mean. He's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, I know what you mean. I'm not going to correct you. I'm not a dickhead.
Yeah.
Do you know? So they're the worst people to have conversations with. This guy Ignacio, he was the best person I ever had conversations with. We used to go on every single week, like twice a week, and he used to be outside in like a hammock, like, or literally just like chain smoking. And I was like, I actually feel like this is a lesson for life, and that like he was the best person to go. He's like, I know what you mean. Like, he's like, and Spanish wasn't even his first language, and it just had stories about like these things called like gasteches, which are like these big like raves that they have in the Basque country. They're like these like community centres. The kids have like raves in them, and so it's pretty cool. But yeah, like, so it was Duolingo, Anki, and the conversation exchanges, the intercambios. That was really, I learned it, and came on really, really quick. Do you know?
If you're not talking to it, don't you lose it quite easily?
And I think the way we learn languages in school is just beyond retarded. Well, I don't know if I can say it. Sorry. Yeah, it's beyond retarded, right? Like you have, it's like learning to write like postcards, like Ahyoy and Makara. Like, what the fuck am I writing here? Like, you're like, why am I writing postcards? It should all be around speaking. You're not going to write it. You're not. No. Especially when English is your first language, you're not going to do any of that. It's just, you need the equivalent of the Kupla Focal. That's what you need. Yeah. And so it should all be based around speaking. So it's very, obviously, I'm not far from the first person to ever say this, but it's tragic how like the average level of Irish in the country, it's absolute farce. But languages should be all just based around getting you to be able to speak it. It shouldn't be for the optics of like, my students got, an average of this grade in like the fucking letter they had to write for like the junior cert or whatever kind of thing. It's like, that's complete nonsense. It should all be about speaking. That's the way people communicate. Like, writing is becoming less and less of a thing. We have phones, bro. Like, I get it's like a monolithic institution the way education is, overall. And it's very hard to change that. It's very hard to maneuver a big ship. It's the way we've done things for so long. But yeah, for anyone trying to learn a language, just fuck off the writing element of it. Just try and speak.
Yeah.
And blunder your way to competence. That's the thing as well. I wasn't afraid to sound like an idiot on those calls.
Yeah.
Especially when I had like teachers correcting me every 5 seconds. Like on the first calls, I was there like,
this is annoying me.
Yeah, and then I was actually going to quit at one point before I met your man Ignacio, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Yeah. And I was like, this lad's just wolfing down Marlboros here. I was like, yeah, I was like, okay, now this is a real person. You know, it's not someone with charts up behind them, like.
Yeah. I just want to touch something you kind of said earlier. You thought initially in your life, I'm going to be a politician or something, represent someone in the EU. What is your end game currently? Ooh. Say, when you're 50 or 60, what do you say you think you'll potentially be, or what you'll be doing? Touch on what you thought you were going to be and what you are now.
Oh man, I don't actually know. Like, I mean, definitely for whatever you do in like the public eye, if you are someone who's actually, done difficult things, whether it's in like sport or your career or business or whatever, it almost gives you social proof going into it, if you get me. So like, no matter what, like what I'm doing now is going to help me, at least in some respect. It's more like there are people who are kind of more in that older bracket who inspire me. Have you seen that new GAA president, Jarlath Burns, the guy from Armagh?
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Oh really? No, yeah, no.
I don't watch it.
Yeah, no. Well, like someone like him, I'd recommend listening to him in an interview. He's a very enlightened sort of man. But like someone like him, like I'd find him quite inspiring. Going on GAA again, but you definitely know Joe Brolly, right? Like the lad that Sean Kavanagh ran 2013. If you ever whip that up, good gear. But but he's someone I admire in terms of the work he does in his community in Belfast. He's a solicitor. He's like he's a barrister in his daytime job. Right. But he's like, he donated a kidney to some guy who just because he donated a kidney to someone who desperately needed when it was going to die, and someone who, don't know, was he only loosely knew him as well, and he put himself up for that. And like, he does work in community centres in some of like the more like some actually poverty stricken areas in Belfast and this kind of thing. I don't know, like definitely the things that give me the most meaning are like just doing things in service of others. So whatever form that will take, I'm not too certain of. It'll be somehow giving back in a decent way. I hope they don't bring up the tax evasion thing for 5 years in Dubai now. Yeah, they're like, Mr. Sunderland, but I don't know what form that would take. Something in the community, something probably politically oriented. I mean, when I was a kid, like for the longest period of time, it's this thought that comes back to me quite like every so often. I always thought I wanted to be Taoiseach. Always thought that.
Do you see yourself here?
In Ireland,
in the future, yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
100%.
Yeah, no, Ireland's great. It's just dreadful for young people. Yeah, we're back again from some technical difficulties, but no, I mean, Ireland's a really great place to live, just not for young people. I was watching your video on renting in Cork City, like an updated version for 2023 from last year. And what was it? It was like, if for someone living essentially without any enjoyment in their life would have like 50 quid left at the end of the month or something like that. And
yeah, on
like,
your own,
living
in a one bedroom.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's say you live with someone else or you're a couple or something like that, maybe you can enjoy yourself a bit and wind up with 50 quid. But I was looking at that, I was like, that's shambolic, because like that problem, like that's like it's very avoidable. Like I'd encourage people to watch the video of like it was Sam's video of like on the Market Movers channel of,
you would have been 2 videos ago, you'll find
2 videos ago of like renting in Cork City in 2023. But I was like, that's actually shambolic, because the way you're presenting it, you were like, this is a very known problem like that this was going to arise for a long period of time. There's a lot of property actually in the country that's just kind of not in use.
Yeah. What were you talking about? Remember, what country was it?
Yeah, we're going to do a video on it. Like, but Denmark have a policy, like if you're a landlord, you cannot leave your property for more than 6 weeks without someone in it. And if you don't have someone in it within 6 weeks, or you're not using it for anything, you're fined, or it's taken to government hands and they find someone and they put someone in it.
There you go. Like, I mean, do you know, here it's just
60,000 properties, I think.
Yeah,
60,000 in Ireland, I think. Yeah,
like it's just not hospitable for young people.
Yeah.
Basically, like, so I would definitely see myself here. We definitely need to get our act together. Like, now look, I don't think we're as you know, I don't think we're in as bad a spot as our cousins over in the UK, but
no,
do you know, like they're really sinking. But
when are you going to look at buying property here?
Ooh, I don't actually know. I would say once I'm resident here again, which will probably be when I'm, I would guess,
30.
29, 30 sort of way. Yeah, I mean, it could be earlier. Like, I mean, we were chatting about like how you bought your first rental property. So I know it could be like,
if one came up,
if one came up,
like,
let's do it. Like,
because it is tough. Like at the moment to try and. I look at it just for fun. Like I look at like Daft and the markets and stuff like that. And they're bad. Like they're bad. Things are really expensive at the moment. Like,
and
it's crazy.
Actually, my dad, like my uncle is like an auctioneer up in Wicklow, and like my dad Lucy said, "Oh, Conor might be interested in like some of these things," and now he's fucking ringing me every other week. Like, Dad, you know,
it's not easy. No, there's deals everywhere. There's always deals.
Yeah.
But again, it's like your network is your network. If you don't know people, you're gonna get fucked.
This is the thing as well, though. Is if you're good at business, like I'm doing, like I just from growing this in a very competitive market, I just know how to grow businesses now. So it's like I'd rather take a business that is funcking decently well, just buy it and just fucking run it up.
People do it.
Do you know?
I know you have friends that do it.
Yeah.
They definitely.
Yeah, like my friend Adam does that quite a bit with brands. Like, I'd rather look at something like that, and then like the team is there as well. Like, you know, we've kind of you almost have a start. Yeah,
you have a platform already to work off. Like
exactly that. So, I know like property. I think is probably more of I don't think I'd buy a house to live in though for a long time.
Yeah,
because like that's such a weight around your ankles. People think it's an asset, but like it's because. Like we were talking before of how people get like basically zero financial education.
Yeah.
It's not an asset, it's complete liability, the house that you live in. It's just, it takes money from you each month.
Bank.
Yeah.
Working for the bank.
Yeah, but people don't understand.
Work for the Rothschilds, man.
Yeah. Like people don't understand what the difference between an asset and liability, and it's very simple, and we have a video on it. Liability takes money from you and an asset makes money for you.
Yeah.
So if you're paying a mortgage to live in your house, now don't get me wrong, sometimes you need it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not an investment. It's a liability, yeah. And as simple as that. Unless obviously the house somehow managed to raise in value, but you haven't planned that, like, that's luck, like.
Not at all. Yeah, we get no financial education. Yeah, it's another way our education system is monolithic. But if you're an adult as well, you do need to take responsibility for your own learning. You can't
have to take responsibility.
You know, you see like an elf who's like, "Oh, but sure, we never learned this in school." I'm like, "You're 50, man. You haven't been in school, like, and you probably left school when you were 14. Like, you haven't been in school 36 years." And you're like, we never learned this in school. I'm like, you've had 36 years. Yeah. Just take a night off the pints and like go and read a book, man.
It doesn't take that long to become anyway financial literate. It's only basic principles, really. Yeah. Just live slightly within
even knowing the asset liability thing puts you so ahead.
Yeah. 100%. And even like, it's like with getting fat, like with calories as well. It's the same premise. Like you wouldn't spend more money. Well, you shouldn't spend more money than's in your bank account. Just like you shouldn't eat more than the calories you burn, and it's all, and like people will understand fitness and not understand money, or vice versa, and they're the same fucking thing. Everything makes sense. Everything can be simplified really easily. All the basics, anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And making money, keeping money, are some of the easiest things to learn. Like it's just self control at the end of the day.
Exactly that.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, they are very simple. I mean, but yeah, like so much knowledge is just domain dependent. Like you're saying, people just won't see it in another area. Do you know? Probably sure. There's probably so many things we're not seeing.
Oh yeah, of course. There's loads of them. And it's even like when we were saying, like watching back on the podcast we did with you a few months ago, and I was saying, three of us. Not that we sounded like idiots, but I was like, we do so much of it. That's why you're here again. Like, so like we would do a so much better podcast the second time. Like, and that was as simple as.
Jeez, I was an idiot back then. Yeah, no, I had no fucking clue back then. Like, I'd found out like how to make a few quid, but I hadn't like, that was it. Like,
the obstacles you've come across since is.
It's an actual business. Like back then I wouldn't say I had a business. I'd say it was like just me, like it was just a couple of people just grafting their arse off. Yeah, no, but geez, like a lot of people who run a business, they don't really have a business. You know, like it's not, like once again, it's like you know, you think your house is an asset and it's really just a chain around your ankle. Same thing with the business. It's like, no, you've a 9 to 5 that is actually, you know, 9 to 10 p.m. in the evening with none of the benefits.
Yeah.
A lot of benefits having 9 to 5, by the way. Like,
yeah, 100%.
And like I could, in an alternate universe, I could absolutely see myself working for me rather than being like owning the company. Like,
yeah.
Especially because I'm sound as well. I'd be like, yeah, this lad's alright. I was fucking
like, I take a job with him. Like, yeah.
If you're an employee as well, you have no liability. Like, if anything goes wrong, really.
Yeah.
You may lose your job, but you can get another job.
Exactly.
You're not tarnishing really your own reputation. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, where it's like I lose everything and have crippling psychological damage. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's an interesting way to look at it, especially when you're in a position where you're running a company and you can say, it wouldn't be too bad to be that 9 to 5 person. But if you were that 9 to 5 person, they'll look at you and they'll think the opposite. The grass is always greener.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people would not be willing to do the extra.
Oh yeah, and also because it's like it's not certain as well. Like that's one thing as well with
uncertainty scares people.
Uncertainty scares people, and you don't have experience working towards an uncertain outcome. Generally speaking, like at least with school, you will, you know, provided you don't, you know, absolutely take the piss, you will get a leaving cert. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not guaranteed you'll get fucking 550 or something in the leaving, but there is at least a certain outcome. You're like, on this date it will all be over.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I have to fulfill this obligation for this amount of time. Whereas if you're grafting your arse off and at the end of it all it might not work, you actually might be in debt. You might have crippling psychological damage. You might have all these things. Like, I mean, geez, like I remember I'm a very even keel person, I'd say. Like, you know, touch wood, I've never had any mental health issues or anything like that. Like, and it's never, mental health actually hasn't even been a thought that's ever crossed my mind, because I'm just, not like I've got life figured out. I'm just lucky. Like, not a worrier or anything like that. But I remember one time, like very early on, I remember a good friend of mine, James, probably my closest friend, I would say. Shout out Jamesy, but like he I remember one morning I was like, here man, like I'm actually in fucking horrendous state of affairs here, because I remember just really trying to get started and all the rest of it, and I was like, I remember for about a week there, this is nearly 2 years ago, I was like, man, I'm actually like I remember I'd wake up every day with like just brutal anxiety, and the funny thing was that it wasn't that it was so bad in terms of severity, it's that it was constant. It was that there was no respite from it. It's like, you know, that Chinese torture method of like dropping a drop of water onto someone's head continuously. It was like that. It was that when you get no respite, it's like if you're in the gym and you have a really brutal workout but then you go and recover, that's a good kind of stress. There's acute stress and there's chronic stress. This was chronic. So it was chronic anxiety. And I remember just like that for a week. I was like, oh my fucking god, I've never felt like this before. It's dreadful. I was like, man, is this ever gonna work? Like, did I even having like, what was it, like we had two clients or so at the time? It's like, did I just get lucky with those? Should I just get a fucking job? Like, what am I doing? And we literally were like driving around Clonmel, and I was literally just detailing to him. I was like, man, I feel like I can't breathe deeper than my collarbone here. I was like, I'm actually like, it was like physically over me. And this is like kind of mostly to say, it's like, you know, working to a guaranteed outcome. Like now I can kind of look back on that, and especially now because I'm sort of out of the trench sort of period of it, it's very easy to look at me and be like, Christ, he sounds like he's pretty normal lad. Like, you know, like in my sorry, now I am a normal lad, but I'm saying like he sounds like he hasn't got too many worries. Yeah. But my brain's always running. Even now my brain's always running. There was an issue today that my brain is kind of actually running on with a client earlier who's like not too like there was basically a fucking error with one of our clients earlier, and he's like one of our bigger clients, and he's not too happy, and that mistake comes down on me, even though, you know, it wasn't my mistake. I take ownership for it ultimately because I run the company, but there was kind of that period which I've never experienced any sort of like, you know, obviously like mental health issue or anything like that. That was the first time in my life I'd ever had something like that, and it was like due to that uncertainty element of it. And it's like, you know, like there are, like going back to the escape the matrix thing earlier on, it's like, you know, there are people out there who like I said, in order for them to be able to sell you shit, they need to be able to make you feel deep emotion, like make a deep emotional decision, which, you know, makes you think that it's dreadful. But like there's no one really out there to get you. Like there is really no matrix. Like in my opinion, you know, I could be fucking wrong, but there's a great, I'm going on a tangent here, but like there's a great book called The Empire of Nothing would really recommend anyone reading it. And it postulates that everything that you see is really a large web of coincidences. So if you think even about something like 9/11, for instance, people thinking, if it was an inside job or whatever, and some people think that, whatever. I personally don't think it was, but, really it's, if you were to try and keep that quiet, there are lads who fucking, do you ever try and organise a lad's holiday? There's fucking 10 lads in your child, like you can't fucking organise that. There's 3 of you that wind up going. Yeah. Do you know, at the end of it all, you're someone's trying to organise fucking 9/11 here. Yeah. You're how many people do you have to keep quiet? Do you know, who are the actual conspirators? Who are the people at the top actually running that? How are you going to pull that off?
Yeah.
You have people have this conspiracy that there was no COVID or whatever. It's how are you going to pull that off, bro? Come on, actually think about it. You cannot organise a lad's holiday. You think COVID was a fucking hoax. So with that kind of matrix thing, it's so many people, basically if I'm having mental health issues, something's fucking up, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying for a lot of people. Do you know, if you're progressing through your career and getting more skills, it's fucking maybe you can start a business when you're 35 or something. Maybe you might want to fucking do it then, but don't let people make you feel shit just because you're quote unquote in the matrix, man. You're not in the matrix. Do you know that there is it's an empire of nothing. It's fucking mostly coincidence, and every dog has its day. You don't have to, there are so many ways. There are many ways to skin a cat, right? So, basically just saying I would say definitely for most people, running a business probably not the way.
Yeah.
Definitely not the way. Not to say you can't be a fucking Jedi like me. I'm just saying it's just the way most people are wired. I could not personally be I could not personally be a rugby player.
Yeah.
For argument's sake, it'd be so much pressure for me to be on a field with so many people around me and some big 120 kg South African running at me. It's a very small subset of the population could be a rugby player. Mm-hmm. Very small subsection of the population could be a mechanic. I have 2 left hands, you know. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one thing of many things you can do. Yeah, exactly, man. So
there's always something that somebody is good at.
Yeah, I couldn't be a fucking coder or some shit, so it's it maybe just isn't for it just isn't your thing, but then equally that business owner could be fucking shit at what you're good at.
And they are and that's why they hire people and they delegate.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's it. I have another question for you, something I've been thinking about a lot, for both of you even. Can you relax?
No. Not fully.
No.
Not fully, no. Yeah. I mean,
I've noticed that in the last year and a half. I can't relax. I can't sit down. If I'm sitting down or lying down, my leg is even small, and they're tells of it's an anxiety of relaxing. And I find, we're speaking about anxiety, I wouldn't say I've had bad mental health either. You have spats of it, but I find my thing is, and I've developed it over the last year or two, I've developed a massive guilt with not working. Whether it's exercise, regular work, or it's just when you're doing nothing. I can go out with my friends and I won't feel this way, but if I'm just sitting at home, Netflix or something like that, that is not easy. Relaxing to that stage, I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people our age are similar. So I was wondering, you're a pretty busy guy, so do you need to relax, or do you find you nearly never relax? Is your relaxing the gym where you're not relaxing?
It's probably like that. I was saying, I was in a nightclub at 2 a.m. in Liverpool. I was checking Slack, which is and stuff like that. I was there, it's hold on there a second, lads. Just check Slack here. No, but I will say this, right? I really like what I do. I'm fortunate to say that, right? And as a result, I don't really need quote unquote work-life balance, because that.
It's a mix.
It's a mix.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, yeah, and it's we would all agree, right? If someone really doesn't like what they're doing, and someone else really does, we can at least agree the person who really doesn't like it will at least need more rest.
Yeah.
Than the other person, right? But now, if you're talking, I wouldn't say I'm at the point where I my life is set up in a point where I need no rest. I wouldn't say I love it to that extent, but there are certainly people out there where they live and breathe what they do.
Yeah.
They don't need work-life balance. And actually, weekends are a new invention. I think they're only made legal in England in 1911, something like that.
Right.
Or made they were mandated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually quite a new event, and back then people were in coal mines and stuff.
Yeah.
People used to fight. To have 40-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't enough work for people.
Yeah, they had to fight for that. So, the concept of work-life balance is very new. That's not to say it isn't a good thing. Also back then, there's so many things that were
different issues.
Yeah, that weren't probably handled correctly. But I wouldn't say I need as much rest as like someone who doesn't enjoy what they do that much.
Do you sleep well?
Fairly well. I've always been, I'm very hard to wake up, but so it's not the best at getting to sleep. Especially if there's something on my mind, if there's like something that day was bugging me. But what I've started doing again, I've always been a big reader. I read fiction every night before I go to bed.
Yeah, okay.
Fiction helps me sleep a bit more. But yeah, like
And you read non-fiction during the day?
I don't really read too much anymore.
Really?
I remember I read 60 books in 2019.
You fucked it, yeah. you spoke about that in the last podcast.
And like just went in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
But like now I think 2022 I read essentially like 5 books, but like I reread them all. And like and I was doing the stuff that was in the books.
Yeah.
And like geez, I could recall anything from those books.
Yeah, because you recommended a few books to us on the last podcast, and one of them that I listened to it because I'm lazy. And I've listened to it 3 times now.
What was that? How to Fail at Almost Everything is Still Big, or
Shoe Dog?
Shoe Dog. Oh, bro,
holy shit!
That's my favorite book of all time.
That is the best book ever. Like, that is quite simply
the
best story I've ever listened to. Like,
you know why they say like why a book would be your favorite book is because or like why a film would be your favorite film or whatever, or even like if you're in video games, like why some character would be your favorite character, because you see yourself as that character. And like I see myself as like Phil Knight because he's this gangly, somewhat unconfident, lanky motherfucker who who kind of fell into running a business and didn't ever view himself as a businessman. I'm like, that's me. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm a lanky, sometimes unconfident fucker who like happens to run a business and is like, how the fuck am I here? Like, how did this happen? Like,
that's one of the best books I think by far.
Bro,
like, unbelievable.
The favorite book of all time.
Shoe
Dog for sure. Anyone who hasn't read it, I'd really give it a shout because as well it's like a novel as well.
It's really good.
Do you know?
I just can't do books.
Really? No?
I don't know why. I just can't do books whatsoever. I don't take
audiobooks.
I don't really take anything into them.
No.
Watching stuff and visualizing it.
Yeah.
I will take a lot more from it, but actually just listening to stuff most of the time. Not really.
I bought you a book once.
Like 4 pages.
I bought it.
Poor Gino here. Like,
what book was it?
The 4-hour walk.
Oh yeah, Tim Ferriss. The 4-hour.
Oh no, I got more. I think I got about 20 pages into that.
Oh, nice, respect.
I've read one book in my whole life.
One book, book.
Well, apart from school books,
like Alive 06 here, like
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
This is the only book I ever read.
Yeah.
I read history books and stuff, but they're kind of like picture books because they've got pictures.
Conor in, like
they've got pictures of tanks and stuff. And I've read countless amounts of them, but
I'm sure maybe like Netflix documentaries, YouTube, all that kind of thing would probably be good for you. Like
YouTube, like finance stuff, I'm listening to on repeat and watching. Which
I'd actually kill myself.
Devouring this water here. Does anyone want some?
Yeah, you're good. The amount of like stock market analysis videos Sam listens to is absolutely insane.
Really? Yeah.
I couldn't do it if you paid
I'd say I'm probably like 2 to 3 hours per day.
Yeah.
Listening to that sort of stuff.
Christ, no, that'd be very dry for my liking now, but I've always loved like reading like paper books like as well. Even like on a Kindle, I'm like, this is not right. Like it's not ancestral, you know. But I'd have salt lamps beside me there, and I'd read fiction.
Salt lamps are the business.
Salt lamps are the one. Fiction is like very grateful to. I was always a reader. My mom always like tells me, she always finds this pretty funny. She used to tell the story of how like, when I was going to primary school for the first time, I think I got into like reading and like maths and all that like very quick. Like caught it very like, when I was younger. I remember she was like wrapping my books for school. You could put like the plastic wrapper on them and all that. Like in one of the rooms in like the old house we were living in. So I would have been 4, obviously, starting school. And before she was done wrapping like all my like readers and stuff like that, I had them all read. I'm like 4. And like she was like, right, like this kid he's either autistic or he has like sorry, I shouldn't even say it, but like, or he's just, and especially because I have a really fat head as well. She's like, Christ, fucking hell,
there's like, something going on.
This youngster here, But like no, so I've always loved reading, Even like
your mother's school teacher, did she?
No, my mom works in AIB.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my sister's a teacher.
Oh, maybe that's where.
Yeah. But I could see like going on later in life. I could first see myself being a teacher later in life.
Really? Yeah.
I would love to have been a teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
you've been a better lecturer because then you have more freedom to actually talk about what you want instead of actually going by the code that is given to you.
Yeah. I'd be that
makes sense.
Be that lecturer, just like big sleazeball rolling in like his shirt not tucked in.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah,
I think we covered most.
Yeah, because we're up to like basically
a lot
an
of
hour,
stuff.
10 minutes.
Yeah, covered a lot of stuff. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm feeling the flow of it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, I mean, well, what do you lads see yourselves doing later? Like, kind of down the line.
Jeez, I don't know. I find I don't know. I've always seen myself as owning a business.
Yeah.
That's what I've always seen. That's how I've been brought up, like.
Yeah.
And finding what I want to do is the hard part, because it's a funny thing, and people always think it's a very negative thing. I say I don't like that much stuff. Do you know, people are like, oh, you should do something you love. Like, I don't really love anything. Do you know what I mean? And that sounds like really sad. Like,
that sounds like kind of emo. Like,
yeah. And it's not even that, but there's nothing like
get the Blink 182 start playing. Just flick there. My Chemical Romance.
There's nothing that just like, I sell cars, and I like selling cars.
Yeah.
I don't like cars, like. You know, like, I like a real cool car, like, do you know what I mean? Like anyone does, like.
Yeah.
Or like a real, I like real interesting things, like, but.
Yeah.
How do you turn that into a business? I don't know, but I do see someday. I've always been quite lucky.
Yeah.
I've always hit things real easy for some reason, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know it does run out. Luck runs out, and it runs out fast, especially the older you get. But I've always seen something will hit for me. Do you know that kind of way, like?
Yeah.
And I just don't know what it is.
Well, this is good. Like, you're still like at least in the motion of like doing things, because like. This is actually one thing I'd kind of like almost. This is something I'm quite interested in. Of like, in those 60 books I said I was reading in 2019, there's a lot of like, I suppose, things that go into like self-development and like self-help and all this. Excuse me. And there are really very few concepts worth knowing from self-development. There's really one that I think is worth knowing, which is the concept of self-image.
Yeah. Right.
And like, here, like you're saying, you see yourself as quite a lucky person. That's quite good. But really, self-image, like, I think kind of like develops more so through action. And like, there's this sort of like, I've like various friends who are like, oh geez, I'd like to start a business. They're like, oh, but I don't feel ready. I feel like I have to like do all this kind of thing. And you know, this kind of thing of people like having this need to like fix themselves or like whatever. And like, it's not like you fix yourselves and do something. It's like, it's action that fixes you. It's like actually just fucking getting out there in the world and doing things. It's not like you're not gonna. So many like self-improver like kind of people who just like read books and like all this thing, but they'd never do a cold call. They'd never
zero action.
Yeah, they'd never go and talk to a stranger. They'd never go in for a spar or somewhere in a gym, you know. And like, in that case, like just from like the best like way to actually just, I think, like find things is just try shit.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of failure.
Yeah,
I don't think you are either, and I know Sam isn't, like, and it's one thing. If you're afraid of failure, you're fucked, like.
Oh, yeah,
because you get things wrong.
Because you will fail, and you'll fail so much. And then big and small, like, everyone makes mistakes, like, everyone fails, and that's what you learn the most from, like. And if you're afraid of that, you're gonna stagnate, and you're gonna stand still, and it's gonna be super hard for you, like.
But yeah, like we're saying, that like the best thing, if you're to not be afraid of failure, to actually like learn something you want to do, just go out there and get stuck into something.
Yeah, anything.
Just anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking matter. Could be like, I know, it could be Japanese miniature art.
Yeah.
Something I fucking know.
Yeah.
It could be origami, man.
It's taking you out of your comfort zone. You need to get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
As fast as possible, like.
But so like on that front, like I definitely think like, you know, man, if you were to fix things about yourself as well, like, you know, like fix things as if they're worth fixing, it's like
it's a terrible thing to be saying.
Like you lose your teeth through doing that as well. Like, you're like, do you know, like it's all like the kind of like things you perceive to be flaws, like kind of like they give you this opportunity for super compensation, if you get me, where like you'll overcompensate for these things that it spurs you on to actually do things. So it's like, you know, let's say fucking you're in school, someone says you have big ears, something like, you're like in school, and someone says like you have a big nose, man, or whatever, your nose is crooked, you know, you're there like, right, man, like I'm fucking, you know, I've a fucking lazy eye, my ears are big, my nose is crooked, and I fucking went and did all this shit anyway.
Yeah.
It's like that's the only way you can get one over on life, through your circumstances, is by you using it to spur you on, have that super compensation to actually achieve things. If you went and got a nose job and got your ears pinned back and fucking got laser eye surgery in that scenario, you know, it's like you're there, you lose your teeth, you lose the things that actually drive you on for that super compensation. So it's like, why would you, like, there's nothing to fix about you. It's like, these are actually your ammunition. These are your allies, like that are going to drive you on to do things. I say this as fucking, like, I have a lazy eye, and they're like, not like saying that as I don't fucking think about it, but I'm like, just saying for argument's sake, that's why it comes to mind to use it as one of the things. But like, you don't want to take your teeth away, man. These are things that, these are these are they're like the devils on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, do you know? Don't know how we got onto that, but like, I was just saying, kind of in terms of like, just get stuck into something.
Yeah.
Don't think you have to fix shit about yourself. There's nothing to fix about yourself.
Yeah,
you're fine. Like,
I've said it in loads of our videos and loads of our podcasts, nearly every single one of them. And sometimes I feel like a broken record. Like, but the Start Now, Get Perfect Later. And there's a book. Rob Moore wrote a book. He's an English guy, and he wrote a book called Start Now, Get Perfect Later. And you don't even need to read the fucking book. It's not even that good a book. But the title of it is. It is it exactly. Like, you are not going to be perfect because, and you know, especially with starting a business, like when we were doing Caffe Pompeii, the amount of shit that we learned there fast, like, you would never be able to prepare for that.
Oh no,
we didn't do a plan.
You can't prepare for it. Like,
yeah, like there was, you can't, and no matter if someone tells you and how much advice you get, something's still going to catch you off guard. Like, so you're never going to be ever fully prepared for anything. Like, you know what I mean?
And the only thing is, well, like, it's so easy to get blindsided when you have no experience.
Yeah.
I do think there's no more, like, I don't think there's any trait that's as kind of like G of a trait as someone who's very hard to fool.
Yeah.
Do you know, when someone who's just very weathered and they've just seen so much shit, they're just very hard to fool. But when you start in business, you're gonna get fucking fooled.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get the wool pulled over your eyes and everything. Conor and I said at some stage we're gonna calculate how much money we've like wasted just on like different things we want that got no return. Like, it's at least like 70 grand definitely. Yeah. I was like thinking of that. I was like, I want to like tot that up at some stage. It's more. It's probably like 100 grand.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just like, this gave zero fucking ROI.
Yeah.
I
just didn't work. It's just flat did not work.
But it's data. It's data in your brain. If you're like, okay, well that didn't work. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Instagram competitions. They're one thing for us that we learned there, and like we've done so many of them. Fuck me, like we've done so many of them. And they're just no good. Like, you gain followers, but they're the worst followers. Like, no, if you're watching this, not you. Yeah. But like in general, like we did.
You lose them pretty quick. Like,
a lot of them unfollow as soon as the competition ends. But the amount of them that are purely competition, some of them aren't even bots, because we were trying to block the bots. And this was a funny story with Caffe Pompeii. We tried to block a bot. This one. Lady who was commenting loads and commenting these bizarre things under the competition and entering it loads and loads of times. I said, I was blocking the bot pages. Now the bot pages stood out to me. You go onto their page, you press their stories, and they have 20 stories up, and they're all competitions. So I was like, okay, this is a bot made to enter competitions. Block. We blocked loads of them. Never had an issue. Blocked one particular lady, and I apologized to her profusely, but I blocked her, and then she messaged the page on her business page. And was like, oh, hey guys, was trying to enter your we were giving away a holiday to Naples. And she was like, I was trying to enter your competition and your page seems to have disappeared. I don't know, have I been blocked? I'm not really sure. My friend has just checked and my comments are gone and she's still able to comment and I'm able to comment now on this business page. I'm not sure if you guys are racist because I'm Brazilian. And it was like this whole thing and I was like, oh
no.
So I said it to Sam and he was like, fix it. So I was like, right. So I unblocked her, obviously, messaged her, and I was like, look, and I explained exactly why, and I was like, we're not racist. Like, I was like, I promise we're not racist. I was like, it was purely based on just like suspicious activity on your page, basically, assessed by me, like someone who obviously has no experience. Yeah. I was like, we're super, and she was super nice about her, and she continued to comment like a mad woman for the next 3 days.
Jesus.
Sorry, I went a bit off track there, but basically, yeah, like, it's something that we learned. The competitions generally are a waste of time. Yeah. It's nice to give back to your followers and let them win something from your page, but if you give something away, like we gave away a trip to Naples, 4-day holiday to Naples, that must be pretty soon actually. That girl must be going like this month actually. Now that I think about it. Yeah.
How much was that like?
$6
all in about 400 quid or something.
Is that all?
Yeah.
It's Naples.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, so you go Dublin to Naples is only like €30, €40 returns. We booked it like because you're booking 9 months in advance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And hotels aren't expensive there.
And then Italy, south of Italy. I don't know if you've been, but it's super cheap in south of Italy.
Yeah, it's pretty arid, isn't it?
Yeah. And Naples, like I've been, like my family's from about an hour away from Naples, so I've been to Naples multiple times, and I know it's nice. So and our coffee. The coffee we import is imported from Naples, so it kind of all fitted in, like. But it was still only about let's say call it €500, and it was a nice prize for the girl who won it. It was a girl from Cork that actually ended up winning it, but the followers were not worth it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There was no benefit from the followers because nearly like 50 of them unfollowed as soon as the competition ended.
Yeah, I mean,
and I spend most of my time blocking bots.
yeah.
I spent like 4 days just blocking bots, and I don't even know why I went through blocking them. It's just the comments were so
because it kept coming up on your phone all the time, like, and you're just like, again.
Yeah, see there, like you're only going to learn that through experience. Like it's always so funny if like just someone who just will not actually like they actually just won't act on fucking anything.
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter. Like you don't need more info, and you need to be reminded more than you need to be taught.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's just fucking repetition of like. Yeah, like just don't trust strangers, man. Like your mom said.
And it's a simple, like, and that's why when I was talking about reference earlier, it's super important to be like. Firstly, you need to have a good reputation, so that when people will refer to you. Like most business will be done through referrals. Like, like if you think about it with Zen. So you referred us to Zen. We didn't have to check anything about that man. Like, we're like, okay, Conor told us he's good.
Yeah.
We used him, and then I was able to refer him to my boss, and he used him, and it's purely based on your word, like that.
Yeah.
But if you weren't a reputable guy, if you were some other guy saying, "Hey, here's my friend Zen," Joe, like I'm like, oh, fuck that guy. I'm not going.
Yeah, Jesus,
Joe, and it's down to reputation, which is something that's super important in business. And people are out to make a quick buck, and they'll cut the back off people, and everyone knows them, and forever that reputation will follow that person.
Yeah,
because if you fuck over too many people, you're done. Like, people will not
Paul
work
said that
with
as
you.
well in the podcast. He was just like, there's a lot of people in business, but there's a lot of bad people in business as well. And
it helps us huge in car sales. Like, the amount of sales I get because other salesmen are incompetent is insane. Like, the amount of, like, I'd ring, we've a customer comes in, if they don't buy on the day, a lot of them do in fairness these days, but if they don't buy on the day, we will call them the next day. The amount of customers that say, oh, you actually called me back. She's like, I went to 4 garages yesterday, you're the only place that's called me back.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I'm like, what? And like, this is basic stuff, like call the customer the next day. Like, most of them won't do it. Or even if we miss a call and then we ring them back, obviously, so the receptionist would say, okay, Gino, here's a call, Tom wanted to talk about the A4. I ring him back and he's like, oh, you actually called me back. It's like, oh yeah, and another garage didn't even bother returning my call.
Wow.
I'm like, they're not even returning a sales lead. Like, I literally not returning a call. Like,
that's so mad. Yeah.
So all I did was just be competent.
Yeah.
And you get a sale, like, and people don't realise it. Sometimes it's that easy. People, and Paul, who will watch this, he watches all our videos.
Brilliant.
He will say it like, Paul's my boss.
Yeah, shout out to Paul.
Yeah, we have a podcast with Paul, but he would say the amount of business he makes just because he's competent, he's polite, and he doesn't fuck over people, and it just
rules for life there.
Yeah,
like.
And he said, like, and that's the one thing he's stuck to, and he's always stuck to, like, once he treats people right, customers are happy, and they have a good customer experience, his business will do well, and it is perfect. It makes perfect sense. Like,
it's the same in my work actually as well. Just the same sort of principles that come, because they're most expensive in their line of work. They're the most expensive in Ireland for what they do.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that they get is for people that come to them because they've had a bad experience with their competitor, and it's the same sort of principle. Like, and it's massive centric on people is the customer experience that you're giving, and it has to be better than anyone else because they're paying a premium to be with you.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's same
actually. I was actually saying this I was actually this example today to. So we've our outbound kind of manager, sort of like SDR. His name is John. He's from the UK. Shout out to John as well, because he'll probably listen to this. He's an absolute G, the absolute diamond. Very lucky to have discovered him. But I remember when I was kind of like training him in on like using our CRM and stuff like that, and he was like, just sometimes you get a response from a lead where they're like, oh, it's like, you know, this sounds great, but like we've actually just signed on with another agency. You know, then like I'll always like, he was like, oh right, that's unfortunate. I was like, no, here's what we do here. It's like we asked them like, oh, like have they locked you into a long contract? Like, kind of when's that up? They're like, oh, it's up in about 3 months, up in like kind of this date. Be like, oh, like I'll drop in around then. And he was like, all right, like I wouldn't have kind of thought that. I was like, look, like John, there's a 99% chance they will get them no results.
Yeah.
Like there's a 99% chance they're going to monumentally fuck this up. So once that happens, boom, and we come, and yeah, like when we have luckily like so many happy clients who refer us stuff. You know, with them, it's really just like we have it so often. Like it's like you've no idea how hard it is to find like a good agency.
Yeah.
Because as well, like the way like bigger agencies kind of work in like this whole space is, I suppose, in like e-commerce or, you know, maybe even, you know, agencies who service software companies and stuff like that. they generally have like 5 or 6 like marquee clients who they do rev share with, and they just focus their core team on those, and then they have like people here who like they do flat fees with and just churn them every 3 months. That's kind of how it works actually. That's obviously not what we do, but yeah, no, like you're saying, it's like and being advanced is just doing the basics very well. That's it, like, you know.
Well, slightly off topic, how many years or months is your longest standing client at the moment? Roughly, like, do you have someone over a year?
We've someone who, so we like really went all in on like what we're doing now in about August 2021, and we have someone who is with us since September 2021.
Sick. that's crazy, and it stands for a lot. Like, that
stands for a lot, yeah. And she's actually, she's like, she's very relaxed. Like, we don't even really talk to her that much. She's like, oh look, you're making me bags of money, okay.
Yeah, that's
like,
fine.
Like that's it.
Yeah,
she's like, yeah. You know, she's very funny now, but no, like we've many clients who we're with over a year. Like, we're coming up. I've like, there's a client who we've our anniversary on the 5th of March, which is in 4 days. So I have to buy them a gift. I'll definitely.
Will you do
tax free?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
and it's real personable. Like, would you reckon you have a personal relationship with?
Oh, many of them, yeah. Like actually, but that client I was coming up on the 5th of March, and really like on the calls, I'm like, you know, we've like I always say to like Conor, just talk. My business partner's big into surfing. He just talks to your man about surfing. They literally they don't even talk to their, I guess we should chat about email marketing now. It's always that kind of thing. And then Conor always says to me like he always kind of says, I'm like we have some clients who are like, do you know, like, let's say like a lot of our women, like female clients, or like, you know, some of like the old, like even older ones were like, you know, like 50s, 60s and stuff like that. Conor is always kind of I take after my dad in this respect. He's always saying, man, you're like the most flirty person I've ever seen. Like, you're just on calls here with like some 55-year-old like, you know, woman client over in the US. He's like, man, I was thinking of telling you to get a room there at some point. So fucking calm down here. But like, it is about that relationship. Not that you need to be like flirting with your clients like that. But no, but sorry, on this actually, this is quite interesting. You have like 3 ways to grow a business, right? Where you can either like, I suppose we'll say 3 ways, right? Like, you can acquire more new customers per month. You can increase the price that you charge those customers, or you can make them purchase more times. So essentially, you can increase the volume of customers, you can increase what you charge those customers, or you can get them to purchase more often and kind of like not lose them, right? So we'll just take a software model, like, you know, a recurring subscription model, just for
sticky systems. And
just take this because it's the easiest way of getting this across, right? But no, we'll take an agency actually, because it's like recurring as well. It's a fucking better option, right? Like, let's say someone acquires 5 new clients per month on average, and they charge them €2,000 a month on average, or even like, we'll just say €1,000 a month on average, just for ease of you know, calculation. And let's say they have a 10% churn rate, meaning they lose 10% of their client base each month. So acquire 5 new clients each month, they charge 1k a month, and they have a 10% churn rate. Where will that business cap out at in terms of revenue? Go back to leaving cert maths. Well, no, this would be fucking junior cert maths. But like, so they acquire 5 new clients per month at 1k a month each, and they lose 10% of their customers each month. Where will the business cap out?
5 months.
Yeah. Well, no, no. Like, what revenue level per month will the business? Can it mathematically not grow beyond? So basically, the way you look at that is where 5 clients gain per month equals the 10% churn. So basically, wherever they lose 5 clients each month, and they're gaining 5 clients each month, they will stop at that point. So they'll stop at 50 clients, so they'll stop at 50k a month, because it's one average. It's €1k a month on average.
Right, okay, yeah.
Now, if they wanted to get that to 100k a month,
I slightly misunderstood the question. When you said churn rate, I was like, how long before they go bankrupt and they lose all their clients for losing?
Sorry, I should have clarified a bit more. That's on me. But let's say if they want to get it to 100k a month, they have 3 ways, right? So they can double their rate of customer acquisition, really fucking hard, really operationally complex. They can double what they're charging. You're going to lose a lot of your clients doing that. Mm-hmm. Or you can half your churn rate. What's the easiest? Just make the experience much better and half your churn rate. And then all you have to do, if you get that churn rate down to 5% through prioritizing customer experience, you just have to continue doing what you're doing and wait.
Yeah.
And over time, so in this case, over the course of 10 months, you will get to 100k a month. You know, like so the actual easiest way to grow is just to make your customers happy.
Yeah.
So like, it's you could call it stupidity. I would probably say it's just short-sightedness on the behalf of many people, where they're like not going to prioritize their customer experience. It's like, well, you know, like you're only harming yourself there.
Yeah.
You know, and the people who do that, they're out for themselves. You know?
And how do you charge a client in the sense of, are you like commission based, or do you have a flat fee?
We used to do that, but then when you start working with like 7 and 8 figure clients, like, 'cause then if your client is like, you start working with bigger clients, they don't want to do rev share or like anything like that, because their expenses are variable, like highly variable. It's not a good way to run a business to have your expenses be highly variable, and as well, their revenue could be up based on factors outside of your control. Yeah. So that's even if you're just doing a percentage of what you're purportedly generating, but there could be other factors there. So like, you can make a big performance fee off someone, and they could have been unprofitable that month. Yeah. They're gonna fuck you off right away.
Yeah, and and you use Clavio.
Yeah.
Clavio.
The actual pronunciation is Clavio, but I would say Clavio.
Okay. So you use Clavio, and I found we use it also. And sometimes Clavio takes credit for a sale that they didn't.
Definitely.
Yeah, because you'd see it. I see, like, I just check an email. I see this one person. This one, so it comes up as a sale or whatever, €300 from Clavio, and I press into it, and it was someone that opened an email around the same time, but I know it was a client I actually sold to in person. And we put it through Shopify because they're correlated or whatever. Yeah. So if you were doing it based on revenue, you'd actually be getting paid for work. Sometimes you hadn't done like.
Yeah, but sometimes as well, like if you've like multi-channel attribution as well, like sometimes Facebook will take credit for sales over ours and stuff like that. You know? But like, but yeah, exactly that, and also like so they don't want to so like we do like flat fee basically. Yeah. Which like makes clients happier, and just like it's, like that. It's just like the easiest way of doing things.
And you do contracts? 3 month, 6 month contracts, or would you do month on month?
We used to always do like kind of a 3 month to start, but now we just do month on month, because like it's way easier to sign clients that way, and we're like, we're not going to lose you anyway. So
you're confident in what you're doing.
Like, exactly. Like I mean, bigger part of us growing has probably been not losing clients more than gaining them. Yeah. Do you know?
Have you ever sacked a client?
Oh yeah, there's not like 8 times.
Really?
More maybe.
They're not cooperating, or
like we've had people who are like disrespectful to the team and stuff like that. I was like, no, you can't have that.
That's good. You stand up for your staff.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I hate calling them staff, and what else to call them?
Yeah, I kind of say that a bit more. Like employees feels like, well, like I don't know. Like, it's like when someone's like, I'm CEO, you're like, mate, like you, I mean, like fucking hell. But I think no, like people are like disrespectful to the team, people are just overall disrespectful. Clients where, you know, in many cases, like sometimes their business encounters hardship, we're like, look, you know, we can't really pay for ourselves here, I don't feel good charging you. Like we've had clients where they like want to stay on, we're like, nah, sorry, like we just can't, like I just wouldn't feel good doing that.
Yeah, okay, that's good too, yeah.
But yeah, no, many times. And like I will say as well, it's one of the better feelings you can have in business, because like, you know, when someone's if you have like a disrespectful boss, fucking way different scenario, and be like, at least with a client I could be like, okay, bye. Yeah. Do you know, but I definitely screen them very hard in the sales process, because I'm very good at setting calls. So I'm just like, you know, I'm happy to accept a lower close rate to kind of like weed people out and be like, or, like kind of test them on the call, be like, are you going to be a prick or not? I call it the dickhead test, like that I have on calls. Yeah. But yeah, no. So Nassim Taleb, my favorite author, he says you are rich when. It was like, let me try and not butcher this quote. He says, "You're rich when money you turn away tastes better than money you accept." Yeah. I was like, that's fucking deep. But you know, and that could be someone who's just like has their burn rate really low in terms of what they spend, and they're making $1,000 a month, and they're like, no, that doesn't really align with what I want to do. I'm not doing that. Yeah. Like that person's rich. Yeah. In many respects, you know, because being rich, that it's the delta between what you make and what you spend. Yeah, so like some people, they're like make on $100,000 a year or whatever, but they fucking spend 120. Do you know?
It drives me mad. I hate.
Many such cases as Donald Trump would say.
Most people spend more money than they make.
Yeah. As we were discussing earlier, like just before we went on this. Yeah.
That doesn't crazy. That doesn't compute with me.
No, it makes no sense.
I don't get that. But yeah, no, there. I mean, no man, firing a shit client. Oh,
that's nice.
Like I mean, yeah, it's one of the better feelings I've experienced in life in general. It's
because
really
when you're starting a business, like you're trying to get every client, and we even found it with the coffee when at the start, and you just want anyone to buy the coffee. I feel like, and we met a guy in Dublin that we were talking to before, and he was telling us like he was kind of looking at some of our clients, and he was like, that one's a waste of time. That one's a waste of time. And we're thinking these are our biggest, like these guys they're our only clients, like. And he was like, you'll see in the future why they, and I won't get into it now because obviously we would have been dealing with a lot of local places, but he was right, and he was right about one place in particular that basically ended up trying not to pay us, like.
Yeah.
So they would take boxes of coffee, 6 kilos a box, 3 boxes at a time, at €90 a box, and they would take 3, and then they'll pay for it, and then you come to collect the payment, and they're busy, and they're not there, but you have to drop off the next 3 because you're after coming out. So then all of a sudden they have 6 boxes of coffee that they still haven't paid for.
What he said they're basically getting money off you for free and are not paying any interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're giving them an interest-free loan.
Yeah. So and eventually what ended up happening, I had to go sit in this pub for a while until we got paid, like.
Sit in a pub? Were you sinking pints with them or something?
No, I was waiting for them to actually just bother to come and give me. This pub was the place buying the coffee.
It was a coffee.
It was a restaurant kind of pub kind of thing, like.
Okay.
And I had to sit in there.
Yeah.
And wait until I was paid, like, and it was funny because he was just right, and what he said was right, and it was just.
You described the situation to a T.
Yeah, he was just extremely experienced in the industry, like, but
G trade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know?
And I remember thinking at the time sitting there, I was like, "Fuck, that guy was right." Sitting there like a tool away, and you look like a dickhead because staff are kind of looking at you like they know you're sitting there. You're not paying. Like, I'm not going to pay them money for a pint or for food to sit and wait, so they pay me money for just so you're sitting there like a tool, like.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, like. But I don't know how we got onto that.
Let them know, hey mate, your boss has come back.
Yeah. That's what it is, like, at the end of the day. And people who don't pay, again, it's down to reputation.
Yeah.
It ends badly, like it will always end badly if you don't pay your bills and you pay the people you're working with and pay them fast as well, like. And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
And again, to circle back to Paul again, when he's buying cars, he's now in a situation with, let's say, crowds that sell multiple cars. So there's like trade-to-trade dealers that will sell cars only to car garages. They'll give Paul cars. They'll give him 4 cars, and they'll know he'll pay. So his dad is the driver. He'll go up and pick him up and take him down.
Yeah. And so he'll probably get his pick of the litter as well. Cause we like Paul.
So like, we know he's going to pay. We know he's going to pay on time. We know he's not going to argue prices. If there's a few little marks on the car, he's not going to come back looking for money off. So we're going to give him the best cars, and he can pay the next day. He doesn't have to pay when he gets here. But then other clients will come up and they'll be like, no, you can't leave with that car until the money's in my bank account. Transfer the money the day before you come up for the car. Do you know what I mean? And that's down to credibility and down to reputation. And if you don't have good reputation, you're never going to be able to do anything, like.
It's very true. Yeah.
It's very short term after that. Then
precedes you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know? Oh, big time, man. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great note there. Yeah. Like, probably mentor, I suppose, of mine, like, who had actually, like, used to work for in some capacity, a guy called Adam Power from Cork.
Yeah.
Like, he always has like 3 things he say to us, be like, once you're ethical, credible, and consistent, and you're able to showcase that to people, he's like, you're ahead of just 99% of businesses out there. I was like, here you go, like, great. Like, it's always stuck in my head, and like, he's someone who just basics done to a very high level.
Yeah. Like,
and that makes him advanced, and that, like, he knows what the big levers are, and he focuses on them.
Yeah, he's quite young.
Yeah, he's 26.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, he's smashing it. Like.
Yeah, I've been watching him from a distance. I've never met him.
Great guy.
I know a lot of people. Yeah, I seem to know a lot of people that know him. Obviously you, and yeah, I've been watching him from a distance. He seems to be just doing a lot.
Yeah.
Hard worker again, though.
Grafter, absolute grafter.
And that's the one thing a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, and good people around him. He knows how to like, you know, like, knows how to get the right people around him, and knows how to, like, be a good leader to keep them there and keep them benefiting from the situation. Like, a fucking very solid group around him.
Yeah.
Do you know, very, very good people. So, and he's a very good way with people as well. So he does.
Yeah. And again, and on top of that, it's choosing who you work with. Sorry, just the reputation thing is in my head now. Choosing who you work with. So if you you could have a good reputation and you could end up doing a job or going into business or working with someone with a bad one that you don't know about. That can also ruin your reputation, because if you're seen as someone who works with, let's just say Sam's a bad guy, like, and then we don't know this, and we're on a podcast sitting here with Sam, all of a sudden then no one wants to do business with us because I don't know, whatever bad things Sam was up to doing.
Avoiding extradition in Spain.
And it's interesting. It's very easy to fuck up.
Very easy to fuck up.
It's very easy to fuck up.
What's like to like it takes so long to build, but like you're one bad fuck up away from losing the whole thing at any time. That's why you have to be very careful with this.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and you see it with a lot of famous people recently, especially with like a lot of these guys getting like losing.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah, what the fracas thing.
Just speaking out of turn and then just losing it all just on a whim, like by losing his reputation. Like.
Yeah, that was when he battered your man and he called it a fracas. Like a French word, like FRACAS.
He recently with like Meghan Markle as well.
Oh, did he? Oh,
right. So they tried to cancel all of his TV shows. It was all going to be cancelled. He got removed from presenting shows.
Poor Jeremy.
So he's just, he's like he was one fuck up, and they tried to take everything away from him. Like.
Yeah, but the thing is, with some people like Jeremy Clarkson and Piers Morgan, some of these guys, they can fuck up a few times because it's kind of in their personality.
Then you have some people who can fuck up and it makes them stronger, like Trump.
Yeah, well, Trump's the goat at that, isn't he? Like,
many such cases. That's one of my favourite phrases. I use that so often. He says when he's like some of the grammatically incorrect things he says. He's like, he says, this thing happened. Many such cases. I'd say some of his mannerisms just crack me up, and I use them a lot.
Deflector.
Yeah. They're very funny.
Like obviously he has his flaws, but he is hilarious. Like,
he's box office.
He's unbelievable. Like, but then there's a lot of guys, and they're losing. A lot of these like YouTubers and stuff have lost their platforms recently, and we're only seeing it like since Andrew Tate, I suppose. He's obviously one of the main ones, but then there's like I don't know a lot about some of these guys, but there's like this Sneeko. I don't know
anything about him. I've heard of him, of course,
but he's lost all his platforms.
Oh really? Yeah,
so they're all on like Rumble or whatever. I haven't downloaded that. I think it's supposed to be pretty shit. But like, so he's lost all his platforms and now he's on Rumble. And then Aiden Ross, I think, did the same thing.
Gotcha.
Lost all his platforms.
Kanye
lost all his platforms.
Christ. Pour one out.
Yeah, fucking. There's one other person I'm trying to think. Oh, Steve Will Do It. So from Nelk. I don't know if you're familiar with Nelk Boys, but they're not allowed to have one of their members in their videos anymore. So he lost his YouTube channel, and YouTube contacted Nelk and said, "You're not allowed to have Steve in your videos anymore, or you will lose your channel." Like,
Jesus Christ, yeah. Well, that's quite scary in a respect. Like, I mean,
it's interesting, but it's down to
you're working for a company though, and you're posting stuff on YouTube. You're essentially working for.
Yeah, like, do you have
YouTube,
a business if your only business is YouTube? Do you have a business if your platform is owned by someone else? Like,
yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere. I didn't just make that up. I listened to that somewhere recently.
Christ, that is a very good point.
They were talking about it like, if you can't take your business off the platform, do you have a business, or is that YouTube's business and you just work for them? Like,
yeah, you work for
them in a sense. Yeah,
but it is the traffic mechanism. Yeah, so I mean, like maybe like I suppose like the top G isn't really it's software companies, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like the social companies.
Exactly. Yeah. And like they're all on about Rumble and all this, but like I don't think you can't move from all, like, if you're taking off Instagram, you're taking off YouTube, you're taking off Twitter.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. I think TikTok is kind of a funny one because other people can post your stuff, and it's very hard to stop everyone from posting your stuff. But that won't be on YouTube,
especially with like rotating that sort of pyramid-esque kind of scheme that he had, still has. So it's very very hard to keep that off. But yeah. No, that's the thing. Like, I think you have to like work around these things, for sure, because like they're the fucking the substrate that you're working on, I suppose. And that's an important thing to realize as well. Like, we're talking about the escaping the matrix thing, right? Like, everyone answers to someone. Yeah. Everyone. So they're. You can't like in the way like these people put it. It's like it's a marketing term. You can't escape the matrix. Like, it's just like, and why would you want to, man? Like, like you escape the matrix and you're like, oh, my friends are back though. Like, kind of want to hang out with my friends.
Living in Alaska and like some wooden sheds and
that was the thing as well.
Bears.
As well, man, like for the start, they were like. A lot of my friends had asked, like, man, why are you living in Ireland the last year? You can work from anywhere. I was like, well, because you're all here. I was like, fucking. They're like, I don't want to just be on my Tobler somewhere, like in.
You said that in the last one as well.
I was like, it's kind of shit because you're like, well, like it doesn't matter if you can theoretically work from anywhere, because if your friends can't, well then like you want to be with them, wouldn't you? Or like your family, I suppose, primarily there as well. Of course you can meet new people and stuff like that, you know, which is key to do, but yeah, like, you know, when people are going on about like escaping the Matrix and they're like fucking like especially like some like agency lads, and they're like, bro, like, why are you acting like a G on like social, like a service business is made for like an empathetic type of person who wants to see other people do well, right?
Yeah. And
then you've like some lad talking about like flexing on the internet. You're like, bro, you help Susie get more leads.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, fucking relax yourself a wee bit here. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting space. I think the internet amplifies things to the point where like if you're any bit polarizing, you kind of are able to get heard. But I was saying this I think I said this to you privately. I didn't say this in the podcast, but I'll say it now. Like, I mean, I met like many influencer types, and like, you know, hung out with them in summer. I keep saying like, oh, I know this person, but I do like,
yeah,
and like,
sure you do.
And you know, like a lot of these people are just mentally ill.
Yeah.
Like that's just it. Like if you're posing in lingerie every day on social media, that's like not something that a happy person does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really not. Like, when you think about it, it's not normal. Like, your nan wasn't doing that. At least hope she wasn't, you know? Like, so, like, when you're looking at all this shit, like, these, like, polarizing characters, and you're just, like, you have to bear in mind, in the back of your head, you're like, is this person actually just, like, mentally ill?
Yeah.
Do you know, like, you actually have to bear that in mind.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, you're like, right, like, you're like, flexing these people, blah, 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 blah. Are you just a fucking weirdo?
Yeah.
Are you, yeah.
More than likely.
More than likely.
Like, we all know some people who are in them positions. Like, I know a couple of guys I can think of from like Cork and some places like that, and they're pretty weird guys. Like.
They're really weird. Yeah. Like, one of those lads going into my barber, like, shout out CJ as well if he's listening, he's a fucking legend. But like, this lad's fucking, I love CJ to bits now. But he's like a lad, big Cork bodybuilding, like, roid head lad who was like in Dubai, and had to move. People definitely know who it is now, but like, came back, and he was saying like, oh man, no, I won't pay, I'll just put you up my story there, like, I'll get you like loads of things. He's like, man, I'm booked out every day, you have to message me especially to come in here, like, I don't need more clients, like, I need fucking less clients. And like, he was trying not to pay him.
How do they think that's gonna fly? Like,
they're mentally ill, bro.
Yeah, and people
it essentially is.
But the problem is
the explanation.
People say yes to them.
Yeah.
And that's the problem when someone says yes to them, they're like, wait, I don't even need to pay for things anymore. Like respect your barber being like, no, fuck that, like, give me my money, like, you know, give me my €25 whatever it is for a haircut.
He's like, don't post that.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want you to post that.
Yeah, like, and to your 100,000 fake followers as well. Like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
The amount of followers.
To your Pakistani bots, man.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, like, the amount of fake followers when you see, and if we're thinking about the same guy. I think we're all talking about the same guy. I've actually gone out of my way to look at his likes to followers. Do you know, like, let's just say 80,000 followers, 1,000 likes on his last post.
Yeah, you know, what should it be?
It should be like, I think it's like, I think
at least 10%.
I think it's like 13%.
Should be liking it.
Should be liking of your followers. Should be liking it.
Okay.
So if you think about it, if you like, I've got like.
So that should be 10,400.
Well, if he's, I think
if it's 80k.
Yeah, if it's 80k, yeah. Like, I have about 1,600 followers on Instagram.
Respect.
Thank you. And I'll get somewhere.
You're mentally ill, man.
Yeah. and I know a lot because I've had my Instagram since I was a child. Like, I've the same one, so I know I've seen it before. I've like see some page that follows me, and I press in. It's like one of the lads like had another page from when they were young, and you're like, so I have a lot of followers that aren't active or whatever, but I'll get about 15% likes of my followers or whatever, like, and I've googled it, and it is the way it's meant to be, because I know it's
very into that.
because it was driving me mad. How I actually ended up getting into this was with Caffe Pompeii. Was if you posted a picture of us or someone, it would get far more likes than posting just an ad branded picture with no person in it and just like a cup of coffee or whatever. And it was driving me crazy, like, why am I getting 2 likes on this and 60 likes on this, like. And I started researching a bit, and it was talking about just a percentage. And then when we were looking at it, we were thinking about doing some like influencer marketing.
Yeah. And
I spoke to this one young guy from Middleton. Sean is his name, and he has like 100 and something thousand followers on TikTok or something like that, and he was saying, make sure you ask for the analytics of the influencer before you give them the money, basically. And he's like, and if they won't give it to you, they have fake followers. He was like, if someone won't show you their analytics, don't give them money, because their followers are fake, basically. So he's like, it's not a very private thing to show someone, to show a company, look, 15% of my followers will see that, like, or 20%, just showing your reach, like. Yeah. Because if they won't show you, it's fake, like, and they're not getting the reach. And that's when I started looking at this, and then that guy gets sent into group chats a lot. It's hilarious. And
he's one very loyal fan.
He has we've got friends that are very loyal fans of him. But so that's just what brought me onto his page, and I saw it, and I said, fuck, I was like, so you're actually paying, I don't know how much, like, how much his followers cost, probably €100 or something, I fucking know.
God knows it, like, people will...
But, and then he's going to try to take money off a barber for a free haircut. Do you know what I mean? To show nobody. To show.
Yeah, I mean, I know someone who asked one of my friends, like when we were in Marbella, one of my friends would send me some like influencer as well. But it's like kind of like asked him for a loan of like $7,000 so he could like stay over there living like.
Yeah, I actually remember you saying this before.
Yeah.
Not on the last podcast.
But fair.
Yeah. Like it is crazy to think, isn't it? Like, and because
Dark Lane demo tapes.
Yeah, it's just it's an interesting side of things, and don't get me wrong, like, because we were talking about personal brand, and I do think having a strong personal brand is good, like.
Yeah.
But as long as it's one that's like respected.
Yeah.
You know, respected. Like you were saying, you've how many followers on Twitter? Like 7,000 followers on Twitter or something like that.
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
But like, they're gonna. That's from notable content.
Yeah.
I don't follow you on Twitter. I didn't know you had it. I must.
Yeah.
But I assume your content is notable.
It's like, and like it's me as well.
You
know. How are you doing on LinkedIn now? Because you were pretty active on LinkedIn.
So like I was going on LinkedIn. Like I actually had two team members who were helping me there that I actually got rid of. Because I was like, it's just a bit like it wasn't me, and also like more so as well. I kind of thought like spamming LinkedIn was a bit funny as well. Like deep down somewhere, I was like, this is like, like some of it, like it was just like my actual thoughts.
LinkedIn's low key hilarious.
LinkedIn's so hilarious.
Yeah. When I first made my LinkedIn years ago, like, it was purely just to take the piss on LinkedIn. It's like just pretending to act professional and like comment on it, kudos to you, and
kudos to you.
Yeah. And LinkedIn isn't it? But your stuff was good, like that you were putting up.
Yeah. No, like I thought of like going back to it, but then really, I was looking at LinkedIn more so as a means for deal flow, and I was like, there's just way better ways to direct my effort here.
Yeah.
Because like that was taking time from me as well, which is like
because you had to go on and record the videos.
Yeah.
You were saying you were just kind of having conversation, like they weren't from actual podcasts, were they?
No, so we had like an editor and like I kind of like an agency as well, who's helping me for a while. Yeah. That also, but it was just taking time. Excuse me, and I was like, I kind of just, I was like, this kind of just isn't the one. I was like, so sometimes I kind of think to myself, I'm like, if someone was like at 10x the scale I was at, what would they tell me to do? And they, I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, I guarantee you, they would say, just double your sales team.
Yeah.
Don't be messing around with this just yet.
Yeah.
But once again, like you only learn by doing, right? Like, then someone else would think, no, like I'm gonna start something like Conor. I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna like hit LinkedIn really hard. He's not gonna see, like whatever. And I'll be like, no, I've exhausted. Like I've done that. I found better methods, man.
Yeah. So, I follow one of your friends on Instagram, and I followed him, and it's funny enough because his whole thing is like growing social media. So Sean, I think his name is entreprenuer.
Oh yes.
Right, you put me onto him ages ago.
Yeah.
About probably a year and a half ago, and I followed him, and he had like 600.
Did I put you onto him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And he had about 600 followers or something, or 5, if even, on Instagram at the time, and his big thing was TikTok.
Yeah.
And I remember he was constantly posting, and his content was good. Like his stuff he was saying is good. Like,
no, his stuff's great.
And he's kind of a cool guy, and he does cool shit, and he has a cool accent and stuff. And
he's from Drumore. In County Down.
Oh yeah. So he's from Northern Ireland. Yeah.
No, and he's a legend. Yeah.
And then I went the other day and he came up again, and I was like, fuck, I wonder how as someone who's growing his Instagram page business, that's what his business does, how's he doing, like? And he's fucking growing his Instagram page, like, he's like 20k followers, like.
Oh, he's at like 40 now.
Is he at 40 now? This was a few weeks, like, he's growing fast, like. And he's doing it through Reels, and I can see exactly how he's doing it. And I was like, that's pretty cool to actually see someone do it.
Yeah.
And it's just consistency. That's all it really was for him. Like, he was just really consistent over the last year.
But also the lever is like who's saying it, right? Like, isn't like what tangible achievements do you have?
Yeah, because he's in these nice countries, and he has his marketing agency as well, doesn't he? Yeah,
he does.
And he has his Rolex, and he has his
Rolexes. He's he's caked, man.
He has
as well. They can get dividends in the UK, tax free and shit. Like so, like he's like, he can get his Rolexes, like, but yeah.
How do you mean?
Like as in they can take out, like, in terms of paying themselves, they can take out dividends from a company if you want, right? So like, you can essentially, like, almost like tax free money. Like
up to a certain amount,
up to a certain amount. So like so you can pay yourself a salary for like £700 a month tax free, and then you can take out dividends up to like 40k or something tax free.
Holy shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah, and also just for individual people using like stock accounts and stuff, you can, if you put it in an ISA account, you can get up to 25k tax free per year.
Oh yeah, no, they're like, our taxes, like, this is what I'm saying. I got bent over last year.
Yeah.
I'm still raw after it. Like,
I think standard capital gains is like, we have like 1,200 here or something for tax free allowance. I think they're at 12,000, and now they're bringing it down to 6, and then they're actually bringing it down to 3 in the next couple of years. So actually getting rid of a lot of that stuff.
Interesting, yeah. Place is sinking, man.
Yeah.
The UK, but no, they're like it's cool to see that. Like, I mean, he is that guy. Like, it's just like, say, kind of, there's weight to his words, essentially.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. And there was something else. Just talking about Northern Ireland, is like companies can set up. So if you have a company in Ireland and you move because one thing we found with Caffe Pompeii is trying to organise shipping to the UK.
Nightmare.
It's so expensive, and shipping in Ireland in general is so stupid, like, so expensive. But
and on poster, just a skag to look like. God. Some skag altogether, really. But then, like, you've
but the rest of them are just as bad. DHL, all these crowds are all terrible to deal with, like. But if you actually set up in the UK, if you set up in Northern Ireland in Belfast, you get cheap shipping to both places.
Yeah.
So that clothing brand that Carpe Omnia.
The new deal is actually more clarified as well.
Sorry?
The new deal that they're trying to get through is going to clarify all that stuff.
It's very funny seeing Rishi Sunak being like, he's like, you've both benefits. He's like, it's like you get to be in the UK market and in the EU single market. No one else has that benefit. It's like, well, Rishi, it's almost like Brexit was a colossal fucking but they're like, I know a lad who runs a brand called the Essence Vault, who are like a massive you'd be fucking shocked the numbers they're doing, like, and he's like really, really successful brand. And a very close friend of mine is like CMO for the brand, works very closely with them, and he has a 3PL, which is like a third party logistics center, is what it stands for, where basically they'll handle other brands' inventory, their stock, take it in, label it, store it, ship it out for them. Like, with individual orders, right? Okay. So most brands don't do their own fulfillment. They give it out to someone else, right? Now, he's grown that crazy fast, because like land in Northern Ireland is 6 times cheaper on average than land in the mainland UK, right? So like that brings down the cost massively. The minimum wage there is actually lower than the mainland UK. Generally, staff
check that.
So guys, that actually brought to the end our podcast with Conor Sunderland. We had some problems because we didn't really realise it was going to go on so long, so we just didn't have things properly plugged in, essentially. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You did learn a lot from that. And look, it was great to have Conor on. He's a great guest. He's a very, very intelligent guy, and he's going places at the moment. So just make sure you do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and thank you for watching this, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.